urology specialist of Ohio.com.
Everyday values are at only one place, Frickers. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Wednesday is all about that steak. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers, where kids 10 and under eat free every day. Remember draft beer specials, everyday values, and kids eat free every day. The home for money-saving value is the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, body shop manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. Our technicians have over 125 years of total experience. That means we can repair your vehicle correctly and efficiently. So when you need a dependable body shop, we're here. And we repair all makes and models with new state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road quickly. Plus, we offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Stop by and see us. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, happy Friday. Welcome in. Sorry for the little delayed start to the show. I was just thinking, for a Friday, everything is going really, really smooth right now. And then, of course, every computer in this damn studio has to reboot. And, yeah, typical. But nonetheless, it is a Friday. It's the first Friday in a while where I actually get to go home and enjoy my Friday night. So I'm pretty jacked right now. I'm pretty excited. I'm trying to think about what's the drink of choice for tonight. With the way the Bengals fans have acted over the last 24 hours about this Jamar Chase thing, it's surprising I haven't been drinking throughout the day. Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't. It's going to be a good Friday, Kev. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones.
Let's do this, man. Let's do this. Let's do this thing we call Friday, man. What you want to talk about?
We got a lot to talk about. We're, of course, going to get instant reaction from everybody. Yesterday, of course, we got the breaking news in the middle of the show. Jamar Chase out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's what I want to open up with. We got cap or no cap coming up around the corner. Bengals beat writer Jay Ryder, my goodness. Bengals beat writer Jay Morrison will join us. He covers the Bengals for The Athletic. That's coming up in hour number 2. We'll chat with him, and then we'll, of course, give you a couple upset picks to keep an eye on when it comes to the NFL and college football as we head into the weekend. Couple of weekend programming notes. Kev Nash and Keith Byers will be live at the Submarine House in Kettering tomorrow, starting at 10:30 a.m. until noon, going live throughout the Buckeye pregame show on 92.9 Jack FM and right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So go if you're looking for a spot to watch the game, and it's a big one. Ohio State, Penn State. It's a top 25 showdown, and this is a big one mainly because, yes, it's a top 25 showdown, but it's kind of the final dress rehearsal, if you will, for the committee. The very first college football playoff poll will come out on Tuesday night, so it's very important that Ohio State goes out there, which, by the way, I don't even care if they go out and look ugly and win an ugly game. They're in the top 4 no matter what, but the point is go out there and try to solidify that number 1 spot, because I still think there's a lot of different directions they can go with the number 1 spot, but I think Ohio State thumping Penn State in dramatic fashion, I think would honestly put them as the favorite to be the number 1 team come Tuesday night. So we'll see what happens.
I think the highest Ohio State can be is 2. I think the highest they can be is 2 come Tuesday. I just think like with what Tennessee has already accomplished, and then they have another top 25 opponent this weekend in Kentucky. If they beat Kentucky on Saturday, I think Tennessee should be number 1.
I agree, and we're going to get into that playoff analysis coming up here in just a moment. We're going to take a look at some of the top 25 or the top 5 teams in the country, what they're up against heading in to this weekend. So we'll get into all that coming up, and I want to open up with yesterday. So, Kev, I really, on a scale of 1 to 10, actually, no, just forget that. Just you're a college professor, and you have to grade me on my performance yesterday, opening the show, or opening the news of Jamar Chase. I didn't gloat. I didn't make fun. I wanted to do a hip, hip, hooray joke, and you wouldn't let me. I didn't do any of that. I gave the facts. I was reading the live reports as they were coming in. We talked about how it could impact the Bengals and the AFC North outlook. I made no jokes. I didn't make any smart-ass comments. And these crybaby Bengals fans called me a hater. They think I'm delusional for thinking that this is a big deal. Why wouldn't this be a big deal? I can't believe how arrogant these fans are being, Kev, telling me, and by the way, not all of them. There are some intelligent Bengals fans out there, and then there's the other ones. The other ones coming at me on my Facebook page. I put a post on Facebook last night that said, this is a big deal. This is a team that started out 4-3. This is a team that should have started out 5-2, maybe even 7-0. I mean, honestly, they've been the favorite in every game this year. They should be undefeated. It's hard to go undefeated, but they should be undefeated at least to this point of the season. And because they have not started out that hot, 4-3, one game over 500, they're already behind the 8 ball because they've already had their stub toe moments. All right. They've come out slow, which means they don't have a margin for error. And the Ravens got that big win last night, so they're already sitting in first place. So the best that the Bengals could do is tie the Ravens they can't even tie the Ravens for first. The best they could do is win Monday and still be in second. But you're without Jamar Chase for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And you've already lost 3 games. And you have 2 division games coming up. You're already 0-2 within the division. Now, I know these are 4 winnable games coming up, but the 3 losses you had, those should have been wins. So there's nothing from this team that I've seen for me to sit there and say that they can guarantee that they're going to be fine over the next 4 weeks at the very least without him. I wasn't trolling. I didn't poke fun. I didn't even mention the Browns. I have no clue why the Browns have to constantly be mentioned in the comment section. It's absolutely ridiculous that's always the go-to. It's insecure Bengals fans who don't trust their team, and they see the Browns potentially getting an upset on Monday, so they have to – that's their insecurities coming out, bringing up the Browns and making weird jokes about the quarterback and all that has nothing to do with your star wide receiver being out for the next month and a half. I'm sorry, Kev, with this fan base, they just never cease to surprise me with how stupid that they can be, because it's not all of them. There are some very intelligent Bengals fans out there, but this group right here, the one trying to call me a hater and then make jokes about the Cleveland Browns as if that has anything to do with this. It's delusional. This is a huge deal that he's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Now, it may not be. They may go on to win 2 of the next 4 or go 3-1, and people will say, see, Kinner, you were wrong. They can go 3-1 in the next 4. They can go 4-0 in the next 4. It doesn't mean that it's not a big deal, because when you look at what's ahead, they still have the Bucs, which that may not be as big a deal now as what we thought, but it's still Tom Brady and the Bucs. You have the Bucs, you have the Bills, you have the Chiefs. You have 2 more with the Browns still. Technically, you have another one with the Ravens. You do have Pittsburgh coming up. I mean, you go 3-4 in that mix, or 4-3. That's still putting you at 8-6 on the season with 3 games to go. You're not in the driver's seat here. So, yes, this is a big deal, Jamar Chase being out.
Huge deal. Huge deal. He's a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. The offense is run through him. But for all the Cincinnati Bengals fans that are out there worrying about this Jamar Chase situation.
They're not worried. It's not a big
I'm
deal.
sure there are some that are out there worried. Look at what the Baltimore Ravens were able to accomplish last night. They were able to go on the road down to Tampa on a short week on a Thursday night game. Their tight end goes out. Andrew goes out in the first half. They're onto their 3rd running back with Kenyon Drake, and the team steps up. Kenyon Drake steps up. They put Devin Duvernay in the backfield, have him run some of the ball as well. So that's what you got to do. When your main guy isn't there, your other guys got to step up. So if it's going to be Tyler Boyd stepping up, if it's going to be T. Higgins stepping up, if it's going to be a mystery player that I'm not even thinking about stepping up, that's what you're going to need to get through these next 4 to 6 weeks. Because for anybody to think like, oh, this isn't a big deal, we'll be perfectly fine, they don't watch enough football. Because guess what? This is the NFL. This is a situation where, oh, man, never in a million years you thought Team X would beat Team B, but it ultimately happens. I'll bring this up all the time that last year, the Super Bowl favorite of this year, the Buffalo Bills, who took the Kansas City Chiefs to overtime in that classic game in the playoffs, scored 6 points versus Jacksonville last year and lost the game. So trust and believe. Nobody in Bills Mafia thought we were going to get stopped by Jacksonville. They're going to stop Allen and Diggs. They scored 6 points. So buckle up. This is going to be tough time without your number 1 playmaker.
So I went and I looked, because apparently this Bengals offense is so dominant that they can overcome being without Jamar Chase. So dominant. Actually, Kev, they are so dominant that teams like the Raiders, teams like the Jaguars, teams like the Detroit Lions, teams like the New Orleans Saints, teams like, teams like this, these teams are all ranked higher than the Bengals with offensive efficiency on the season. In fact, the Cleveland Browns have the the number 5 ranked offense, or number 6 ranked offense in the National Football League. Where do the Bengals come in? Oh, number 11. It's not the worst offense in the league, but you're ranked number 11 in the league with Jamar Chase to this point. So tell me again how you have the number 11 ranked offense in the National Football League with Jamar Chase, who you are now losing, and you are trying to convince me that this is not a big deal. I am not telling you that you need to panic and that you need to find a different team and that your team, but this is a big deal because nothing is guaranteed. Nothing was guaranteed when you had Jamar Chase. You're 4-3 with him. You're
Right.
4-3 with Jamar Chase. You have the number 11 ranked offense with Jamar Chase. The Cleveland Browns, who all you guys do is continue to try to bring up constantly when I don't. The team you constantly make fun of is ranked actually 5-6 spots higher than you. So I have no clue why you continuously have to switch it to the Browns every time we talk about something that is not even critical. By the way, the Bengals have done nothing wrong here. All right. They're not in the wrong for having a player go down. In fact, yes, I get why some of you are confident out there that they have enough weapons to be able to overcome this. But my whole point that I'm approaching this with is you're saying they have enough weapons to overcome this absence of Jamar Chase for the next 4 to 6 weeks. But this team's been very average even with Jamar Chase. So how are they going to all of a sudden be elite without Jamar Chase? That doesn't make any sense. T. Higgins looks like a legitimate potential number 1 wide receiver, Kev. No doubt about it. But we don't know that. And the reason we don't know that is because we have yet to see who T. Higgins is on that field without Jamar Chase. Now, people are going to bring up the rookie season. Okay. The rookie season, very, very good. I'm not going to put it all on T. Higgins' rookie season and say that that's because we don't know. He's grown since then, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he is going to get double teamed. He is going to get coverage he's never had before in the National Football League. Teams have more of a scouting report on him than what they had in his rookie season. And the bottom line is that the Bengals have a lot of teams coming up with elite pass rushes that it's also going to create more pressure on Joe Burrow, who's not going to have his escape down the field now with Jamar Chase. The Bengals will win some games coming up. The Bengals could very well win on Monday night. My whole point is that you are allowed to say, yes, this is concerning, especially with the slow start that we've had, that our margin for error is so small right now that, yes, this is not a very convenient time. Now, I heard Jay Morrison, who's going to join us in hour 2, the podcast that him and I know who that is. You're good. The podcast that him and Paul Dehner Jr. do, saying that it's actually there could have been worse times for this to go down. You know, this could have happened next week, the week after the trade deadline, to where they wouldn't even have the option to go maybe improve the roster if they need to fill a hole for quite some time. It could have happened closer to the back end of the season, heading into the postseason. It could have happened heading into the stretch where you have the Bills and the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Browns again. You know what I mean? Like there is that positive side way to look at it. You got bad teams coming up. Technically, you got Cleveland, who's 2-5. Who do they have? They have Tennessee coming up around the corner. They have the Steelers again. They have teams that they should win, but they should have won in week 1 and they didn't. All right, they should have beat the Cowboys and Cooper Rush in week 2, and they didn't. The Ravens played horrible in the game against Cincinnati, but the Bengals played them that day, and they lost to the Ravens in a game that they should have won on the road. So you've lost all these games with Jamar Chase, and to tell me that you're guaranteeing that they're going to win the rest of these without him is kind of silly. And I think it's disrespectful to Jamar Chase, and it devalues who he is. If you don't need Jamar Chase, then if you don't need him to win the rest of this season, I mean, my good, then why even pay him coming up whenever it's time to pay him? Like, that's not what you're saying, but that's what you're saying. Stop acting like this isn't a big deal. It is. And as a Browns fan, if you're saying that, oh, you're going to be insensitive and say you enjoy this, as a Browns fan, do I see a weakened Bengals team on Monday night and that makes me happy? Yes. Am I happy that an individual is hurt? Heck no. Jamar Chase has actually been one of the biggest bright spots to come into the league in a while. Like, he is just elite from day one. There was no progressing into the league. It was just him being dominant right off the bat. We don't see that very often. We see very good receivers come into the NFL, but we don't see this, like almost a finished product the second he steps on that field. I am not happy to see a talent like that go out, especially because we've beat you guys with him, and I have no fear of us beating you guys without him. So bottom line is, just relax, calm down. I'm not hating on your team. I have so many other reasons to hate on your team. Him going out is not one of them. I'm actually bummed because I know when we win on Monday night, now it's going to be watered down and say, well, you beat us without Jamar Chase. That's the opposite of an excuse.
No, I'm just saying that is an excuse. The excuse bell isn't just for you, Justin. It is for anybody to bring.
It's your bell. It's your rules. You are very right.
So the next 4 games for the Cincinnati Bengals: at Browns, home Panthers, bye week; at Steelers on Sunday Night Football, and then at Tennessee. What's their record in these next 40 games?
I think they lose to Cleveland on Monday. Just to be clear, I was saying that before the injury. I think Cleveland's going to be playing desperate. And it was going to be a tough win for Cleveland. It's going to be tough no matter what. But I do believe that I think this rattles Cincinnati a bit too, to be kind of fair. I think this is going to rattle Joe Burrow. This is the first time since Joe Burrow's rookie year, and Joe Burrow is really still feeling himself out. But now, like, Joe Burrow has a feel of this offense. They just started to get a feel of it, and now everything's turned upside down because there's no Jamar Chase. I think Cleveland gets a big win on Monday, and then Cincinnati rebounds. And then I think they beat Pittsburgh. I think they who they have after Cleveland. Why did you just say Tennessee? They're not.
I mean, sorry. After Cleveland, they have Carolina, Pittsburgh, then Tennessee.
Yeah, they're going to beat Carolina, and they're going to be 2-2 over the next 4 games. They're losing to Cleveland. They're losing to Tennessee. I don't see them losing to Carolina. I don't care if Carolina's coming off a big win against Tampa last week, whatever. But so Carolina, and they get the revenge game against Pittsburgh coming up. I think they get that one.
Let's hope not. After the bye week, too. After the bye week.
Now, I know maybe that's my homerism stepping in here, picking the Browns on Monday night, but I think they're the more desperate team. But I think after the Ravens got that win last night, I think the Bengals should be just as desperate as well. They need to do everything that they can to remain step by step, hovering over the Ravens the rest of the way. So,
it's funny. We talk about the Ravens so much, but this team, this first time they won back-to-back games this season, and going into post Monday, after all the games were played, we both were saying, well, look, the Ravens were able to win, but they didn't look good doing it.
Yep.
And it's looking like the Bengals are firing on all cylinders now for 2 straight weeks. We were ready to, at least you and I were ready to write off the Ravens, but look at that. 2 in a row for the Baltimore Ravens. And then boom, Jamar Chase goes down. So Ravens are the team that just won't die. They just keep hovering around there and keep leading the division. Goodness gracious.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to jump in and to jump in on the conversation, by the way. Kev will get everyone on hold here. While you guys are doing that, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the responses here in the Facebook feed. Ryan Strong, he says that this is a huge deal. Obviously, his Facebook profile picture, he's covered, of course, in all the Bengals gear, but he said, yes, this is a huge deal. I definitely agree. I think the smarter Bengals fans, most of them tune into the show. The unintelligent ones, they hang out on the Facebook page after the show. So there's that, but nonetheless. And, of course, the damn camera has frozen on there, so we'll get that fixed coming up here in just a moment. But let's see. Continuing to go down the list, Scott Campbell says, at the moment, because the games have not been played yet, the only good thing about the next 4 to 6 weeks is that the Bengals have a bye week coming up. But absolutely. But, yeah, we'll see what happens, too. I think what's worse, Kev, is the fact that had they not figured this out, I think, the last couple of weeks, if the offense hadn't exploded the last couple of weeks, yes, that would be a bad thing. But I also think that what makes it hurt even worse is that they did put it together the last 2 weeks. You finally started to see that explosiveness that everyone had expected since week 1 and that they saw throughout the tail end of last season. They finally get it figured out. And now I think this changes the whole rhythm of the offense. I think it changes how the plays are called. It changes the routes that you're going to see from T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. I think it's a big deal. Like I said, we're repeating a lot, but I'm just saying, I think that's the case. Ryan Strong says this is a big deal. Last time Bengals didn't have Chase, they were 2-6-1 going into the Washington game when Burrow got hurt. They need to get someone to fill that gap. To be fair here, I'm not going to use the run in Cincinnati, his Joe Burrow's rookie year without Jamar Chase, because there were so many holes on that team, to be fair. But the other thing is the run game's not going either. You don't even have the run game to fall back on. Joe Mixon has regressed. The offensive line has improved, and he has regressed. And because they don't have a run game to fall back on, I do believe that's a problem. So there you go. Continuing on here, 518-1410, by the way. So John Slayton says, hold on. Brandon Kelty goes 3-1, Browns going down. All right. Well, we'll see about that. 3-1 Browns. So who's the loss then? The Titans? What is it about the Titans that, the Titans and Browns basically say run teams? If you're going to stop the Browns, that means you should stop the Titans. So that's kind of how I view that. We'll see what happens. All right, Kev, who we got?
We got Mark from Tip City on line 2.
Mark and Tip us off, sir. How are you?
Justin, I almost had to pull off the side of the road and take a sedative. I've heard so much of you today that I just can't believe comes out of your mouth.
Was it too much common sense, and that's the problem with you?
It was. Yeah, you need to dumb it down for me. You happen to be talking to a guy who is a Bengal fan who doesn't dislike the Browns. I have no disregard for the Browns. I kind of like them. I like them both. I'm a bigger Bengal fan. One, it's very concerning that Jamar Chase is not playing. But the reason why I think there's more comfort with the Bengal fans with him being out this time is, and just try to let me get through this, we're forgetting the defense. The defense is better this year than what it was in the past. We also have Hunter Hurst, and I'm not saying Hunter Hurst is Jamar Chase and Chris Evans is Jamar Chase, but we have enough to get through until he comes back. He is, like Kev said, one of the best players in the country, in the NFL, but I think we can survive it. So I am a realist to say it is concerning, but we can get past it. But what I really want to ask you is,
Mark, real quick.
Yeah,
Their next 4 games, what's their record?
probably 2-2. But this,
So what would their record be if Jamar played?
Probably 3-1.
Okay. Go ahead.
I really believe that. But
Okay.
back in the 70s, Justin, did you try out for a movie part in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Because you clearly could have been a character in that movie. Probably like Mr. Cheswick or one of those characters. Because over the last 3 years, all you have done is every time you mention how great your Browns are, including you said, you're all Super Bowl offensive line, you're all Super Bowl winning potential defense. Every time you mention your golden boy at quarterback, you took a shot at the Bengals quarterback. And like I said, just before you spout off, I like them both. But to sit there and say, all you Bengal fans all you want to do is talk down on the Browns every time the Bengals are struggling, you are the master of talking down the Bengals every time you have something good to say about your Browns. I just wish you would level the playing field. And I just want you to also tell me, how's your golden boy doing now down in Carolina? I know that's a lot to give you, but that's
You mean the guy that you guys couldn't figure out how to beat? I think maybe just once in the 5 times, 4 times. I'm just curious.
A Super Bowl.
No.
The
I mean,
guy you said-
if you're going to dumb him down, you're dumbing yourself down because you guys couldn't figure
No,
out how
I'm
to beat him
dumbing
while
you
everyone
down
else did.
because
I think
you
that's
said
embarrassing. I can't
how
believe you guys lost to
great your
Baker
boy
Mayfield, who
was.
can't even get the starting job in Carolina. How bad do you have to be
No,
to lose
when
to
your
that
boy,
guy
when your boy
multiple
got
times?
you a
That's
playoff victory,
embarrassing. Holy moly,
when
Mark and
your
Tip.
boy got you a
Man,
playoff
it must be
victory,
tough to be you. Oof.
but you can never see just because you have the show doesn't make you an expert. When your boy won a playoff game, you
What makes you?
him
Then
the
what
next
makes you an expert?
Tom
I'm just
Brady.
curious. Like, what makes you an expert?
I'm not an expert. I'm a layman.
But you're
just
talking
like
with
you.
just as much confidence and bass in your voice as I do with
You
my
go
shows.
back
I'm just
and
curious.
review your
Like, I'm
tape.
just curious.
You have taken more shots at the Bengals than any other team, and I can appreciate that. But geez, dude, don't sit there and say you Bengal fans are always criticizing the Browns.
You guys
You've
are.
made
That's
a
what you guys
living
do.
on this show.
That's what you guys do.
You've made a living on your show criticizing the Bengals, and that's okay.
And I appreciate
That's
that
no
you
big
guys
deal.
are around to help me make that living. I appreciate it.
There's no you guys.
I'm-
This is just me. But I bet your other
No,
callers
you guys
feel
are all the same.
way.
Like, I feel like I'm like the next caller I take. I'm sure it'll sound the exact same with the same talking points and taking shots at Baker Mayfield, taking shots at the
I
Browns.
think you're
You guys are all the
intentionally
same.
Missing
I'm
my
just going to
point.
call you, John Doe Bengal fan. That's who I'm going to talk to every
Yeah,
time. John Doe.
You're intentionally missing my point to make your point. I like them both. I am concerned, but please don't say that the Bengal fans have attacked the Browns. You've made a living on that, attacking the Bengals.
Uh-huh.
Especially when you guys won a
Self-defense.
playoff game under Baker. You anointed him and your team as a Super Bowl winning potential team. And I've never seen it, especially that great defense you guys are supposed to have. That's where you're soft this year.
That's where we have a backup quarterback. We didn't make the playoffs last year. We're 2-5. That's
I don't
about what I
care.
would expect from a team that didn't make
When-
the playoffs last
when you
Let me
play
tell you about what I
sports,
should expect from a team that
it's
was in the
always
Super Bowl
next
last
man
year that
up.
actually improved their roster. I would expect them to be a lot better than 4-3. I think that's a lot worse than being 2-5 as a non-playoff team with a backup quarterback.
I'm not saying the Bengals
Oh,
are the greatest thing since sliced bread. The Bengals are struggling this year. They've underperformed, mostly
Uh-huh.
because of a bad coach.
A bad coach.
But when
He
you
was
guys-
good enough to get you to the Super Bowl last year, but he's a bad coach.
I've never been an advocate of him. He's one of the worst play callers in the.
But he was good enough to call plays to get Joe Burrow to be elite last
They
year, to
got
get
there
Jamar
last
Chase to
year
be
on-
elite. So how come
They
is
got
it
there
when
last
they're
year on the-
playing well? How come? So when they're playing bad, it's Zach Taylor's fault, but when they're playing well, it's because the players are overcoming bad coaching. That doesn't make
That's
any
in
sense.
your mind. You've never heard me say that because.
Then what
that's
are you
in your
saying? Because it
mind.
doesn't make sense.
They
How did
got
they get
there
to the
last
Super Bowl
year.
last year if Zach Taylor's such a horrible coach?
I would like to tell you if you'd let me. They got there last
my
year.
bad.
On the
Hold
legs
on.
of-
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, Junior, I'll tell you. They got there last year on Evan McPherson's leg and Joe Burrow's arm, not on the great coaching.
But
I
so then
think
Joe
most
Burrow,
Bengal
I mean,
fans
that
would
doesn't
tell
make any
you-
sense. That doesn't make any
I don't.
sense.
Only
So
only
Joe
you make
Burrow's
sense,
arm,
Tiger.
but so Joe, are you saying Joe Burrow's been bad 7 games into the season then?
I didn't say that.
Well, then what are
Again,
you
you
saying?
put words in caller's mouth without listening. The best thing that you could do was listen instead of talking.
Oh, man, see, that's your problem. I didn't ask you what's the best thing I can do. So anything else,
maybe
Junior?
maybe you should ask your listeners. You're
I'll ask the
smart,
intelligent one. See ya. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Look, bottom line is, I don't know what the hell are we even talking about right now. And you're just sitting there trying, like, you just do.
Yeah, I got a report to write, so
I'm glad I could give you that time to do so. Holy moly. Look,
my question is who started it first? So I've only been a part of this lovely show for about a little over 2.5 years. Who started it first? Did you start trolling Bengals fans first, or did Bengals fans start trolling you first? Be honest.
To be fair, 2000, that would have been 18, Baker Mayfield's rookie year. I did a segment talking about the Browns are dumb for starting Tyrod Taylor over Baker Mayfield. You drafted Baker number 1 overall, put him out there, and he either has it or he doesn't. You have to let him start. Bengals fans call in and saying, doesn't matter, the Browns are going to ruin him. The Browns are horrible. The Browns are this, the Browns are that. Oh, well, they have Andy Dalton. So I made a comment about, what are you taking shots at the Browns quarterback for? He's not even a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he's still the second best quarterback in the AFC North. And this was at the time that Big Ben was the best quarterback there. And then, you still had Joe Flacco for the right. From that point on, every time I would talk Browns, Bengals fans would jump in. I didn't even rip the Bengals back then. This started because I was trying to have a Browns conversation. Bengals fans interrupted it with their nonsense. Now I use their talking points against them, and I am the hater. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it is. So, I've seen some today on the comment section that, the Bengals, it's not, keep in mind, if they lose games coming up, it's not just because they don't have Jamar Chase, DJ Reader's going to be out, and Hendrickson's a little banged up, but I found some screenshots. I have a receipt folder here that I'm about to be breaking out next week on the show. And it was anytime I would talk about the entire secondary unit being out because of COVID last year, or the entire defensive line being out because of COVID last year. Remember last year that every starter on the defense was out. They had to get a whole new offensive line brought in, and everyone said, you can't use that as an excuse. Ring the bell. But this year it's kind of funny what's all coming out now. The bad coaching, now the injury to Jamar Chase. Everyone is laying the groundworks for whenever things start going further south, because you're 4-3 when you were in the Super Bowl last year. So it's already pretty south, or at least, kind of right there in the middle. So is what it is. I don't know if that answered your question or not, but it sounded right.
So is that why you poke fun at Joe Burrow's outfits?
No, I think he looks like an idiot.
I will stand firm on it. Fashion is confidence, and I would love to have some of those outfits.
I wish that if I dressed as dumb as he did, that I can have the confidence to act like I don't. So there you go. And he said the other day, he was during a press conference, something about he's trying to figure out what he's going to wear on Monday for Halloween and stuff. I'm like, you guys without his starting number 1 wide receiver, and he's more worried about what Halloween costume he's going to be putting on before. Unbelievable. All right. Let's see. 518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I didn't want it to go this way, but this is where we're at. Hell, I'm still trying to figure out what that last caller was talking about. He said I was putting words in his mouth. Well, I suggest you put words in your mouth that make sense so that I don't have to put words in your mouth, because I had no clue what the hell he was trying to say. 518-1410. I think we got Charlie on hold. I see Nick and Eric and a couple others. We'll get to you guys on the other side. We're live on Facebook. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Kev may not want to have his name tied to this at this exact moment, but we'll see. It's in the branding. It is what it is. It's like you survived this long. But nonetheless, head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, jump in the conversation there. We'll get to cap or no cap coming up when we come back. After your calls, of course. Unless you're Mark Fontaine.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Blue Day Nation, Betfred has come all the way from England to the great state of Ohio with over 50 years of sports betting experience. No emperors, no movie stars, just a sportsbook you can trust. The Betfred Sportsbook app will be available on January 1st, 2023. Until then, download the Bengals app or go to betfredsports.com and have a chance to win Bengals tickets and exclusive merchandise. Official sports betting partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. For a limited time, we have 22 Honda Passports and 22 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1.9%, and 2022 Honda Ridgelines with financing as low as 2.9%. Remember, we can get the Honda you're looking for. We are taking deposits on current scheduled in-build new Hondas every day. See me, sales manager Jason High, for all the details. We're on Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
Do you enjoy sports betting and fantasy sports? If so, it's important to know that gambling's not a way to pay bills or earn income. Learn how to set limits and recognize the warning signs for problem gambling by visiting beforeyoubet.org. You can also assess your risk by taking the responsible gambling quiz. Beforeyoubet.org provides free resources to help keep gambling safe and fun for Ohioans. Be a fan with a plan this season and go to beforeyoubet.org to learn more.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
O'Reilly. Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your vehicle and budget. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with peak long life universal pre-mixed antifreeze and coolant. Now just $3.99 after mail-in rebate. Limits apply. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Fall into a new career. KTH Parts Industries has immediate openings, second shift production associates, and equipment technicians. Material handling experience is a plus. This is an excellent new opportunity that offers an attractive benefit package, medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at $19.75 per hour with annual increases. KTH is hosting open interviews Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Visit kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our Philly cheesesteaks, our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits. Submarine House.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. That's Ronda Rousey's entrance song, by the way.
I don't give a damn about my reputation.
So we went to that WWE live event at the Nutter Center last weekend.
Yeah, she beat you up.
No, she did. She remembered me from when I interviewed her last time.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I felt pretty cool about that, actually.
Look at
I love Ronda. I loved her back before she even started doing the wrestling stuff. But I watched her in MMA, but with the MMA stuff. But I think it's badass that she's in WWE. But I interviewed her last time that they were here, like, 3 years ago. So it was pretty cool. You know, there's a face you don't forget. You know, it's a face you don't forget. But I felt pretty badass that Ronda Rousey would remember who I am. So that's pretty cool.
She's definitely made more money off of WWE than off of MMA.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean, but it's still pretty cool. But getting to see her live was pretty neat. So I was excited about that. But nonetheless, we welcome you guys back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Cap or no cap coming up around the corner. We'll get to some Ohio State stuff coming up here shortly as well. So, yeah, Ohio State, Penn State, that's a big one. In the college football playoff poll, the very first one comes out next Tuesday. But 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We had this conversation a little bit yesterday when the news broke about Jamar Chase. I just wish there was some middle ground that we could all agree on. That what I'm tired of is this is where I start digging my heels in, and then Bengals fans start digging their heels in. There are some out there who agree with me that this is a big deal losing Jamar Chase, and it is a very, very big deal. First of all, they're the number 11 ranked offense in the NFL already with Jamar Chase. So that's not even in the top 10. The Cleveland Browns are coming in at number 6. All right. You have teams ranked higher than them that really have no business being ranked higher than them whenever it comes, to being ranked as a top offense in the National Football League. But that's just kind of where we're at. So if they're struggling and they just started to get this rhythm going, losing him now is not a very timely thing. It's never a good time to lose a player, but there are worse times than others as far as that's concerned. So the other thing is they just get this rhythm going, and now he's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. I do think there's a difference between being without him for a week and being without him for a month and a half, especially for a team that has started out 4-3, that had expectations to be one of the top teams in the NFL. And I still think that they have time to get there, and they were kind of cruising towards getting back to that perception a little bit. This sets them back. But the problem is, Kev, I think everyone expected when you looked at the schedule coming in, some saw 5-2, 5-2, some saw 7-0. That's not a very tough schedule to open things up. Dallas is a little better than we thought, but you still should beat them when you have a backup quarterback, right? Pittsburgh was god awful in week 1, but so was Cincinnati. But it was just one of those like that. They should have beat Pittsburgh. They should have beat Dallas. The Ravens game, that's a tough divisional game right there. I'm not going to say they should have came out with that one. That's the one they'll say, okay, Baltimore, they just had the ball last. There you go. Whoever had the ball last and that was going to come out with the win. So let's just say at the very best 6-1. 6-1, if the Bengals lived up to the expectations of who they were supposed to be coming into the year, Kevin, they're 6-1 right now, and they just get the news of Jamar Chase, and they're sitting atop the AFC North, a game and a half above the Ravens, and now they're without Jamar Chase for the next month and a half. You know what? Then I would be on the side of those saying, okay, it's not a convenient thing to be without him, but we're 6-1. We're at the top of the AFC North. We're undefeated, or we're 1-1 in the AFC North. We're good to go. But you're not. Like, you know what I mean? Like let's say they go 2-2 and then they end up being, so that's 8-3 after that. Then you're still in very, very good shape. But now at 4-3, you go 2-2. Now you're sitting at 6-5 and you're just hanging around 500. And the Ravens have been able to win ugly as of late too. So it's like, and they have a gap between you now. I just think that now that's why I keep saying this is a bigger deal than people are making it out to be. I don't care that you have other weapons that you can go to. I don't care that you have depth at that position. It's not about that. It's about now you don't have any wiggle room. You don't have your margin for error is so thin now. Now you can't afford to lose games moving forward. So that's why this is a big deal. You start out the way you're supposed to as the team that was representing the AFC in last year's Super Bowl, who has all these weapons, who went out and improved their offensive line, which many said was their biggest and only glaring weakness from last season. Yeah, I think this is a very big deal because you throw in his injury mixed with the slow start, mixed with the bad play calling in the eyes of most from Zach Taylor. I think it's a very, very big deal. And then you add in the fact that you're 0-2 in the division. You just lost to the Ravens. The Ravens have won back-to-back now. I think it's a very, very big deal that he is out because of all those reasons I just listed. I'm not a hater. I don't care if I'm a Dolphins fan or a Bills fan. It doesn't matter which team I'm a fan of. All of those are valid reasons that nobody is thinking about. They're being simple-minded and saying, we got T. Higgins. We're fine. We got T. Higgins. Yes, you do got T. Higgins, but you also had T. Higgins with Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, and you're 4-3 with all of them. So I'm not convinced that, just because you have those guys to supplement the targets and everything while Jamar Chase is out, that you'll be fine. I'm sure you will be fine. Joe Burrow's too good of a quarterback for them just to plummet offensively. But I do think if you were barely escaping close games with Jamar Chase, I'm not sold on this team being fine without him. Like, they haven't got hot enough yet for me to say that they're fine without him. I guess to sum up, Kev, that's where I'm at. This team isn't good enough for you to convince me that they're fine without him because they're not. This offense needs more consistency. They came out 21-0 last week over the Falcons. Falcons came back into that. They made it a game heading into the locker room. Ohio State, I got them coming up next. Sorry.
Joe Burrow.
But Joe Burrow and the Bengals, no, don't. The Bengals, they create that little bit of cushion in that second half, and then they just held them off the rest of the way. So bottom line is that defense is still really good, but they're banged up now too. This isn't just a Jamar Chase thing. It's the timing of everything going on at once. That's why it's a big deal. I don't care that you got T. Higgins. I don't care that you got Tyler Boyd. And stop bringing up Joe Mixon as if that's something to brag about. He has the 4th most carries in the National Football League, and he's yet to have 100-yard rushing in a game. I don't care. Their run game's bad. They don't have as much depth as you guys think.
Not saying I disagree, because obviously losing a top 5 receiver in the NFL is a big deal. But the guys in Vegas are telling you that that's only a half a point, because it's down to 3 points that the Bengals are favored by come Monday night versus the Browns. Another thing is, in the NFL, you don't run away with the division. There's only one team out there per year that normally runs away with the division. In the AFC East, the Bills are 5-1. Jets are 5-2. The North, Ravens 5-3. Bengals 4-3. In the South, Tennessee 4-2, Colts 3-1. So basically what I'm saying is most of these divisions are mushed together. There's a lot of bad teams in the NFL, and then there's a lot of ugh. So for the Cincinnati Bengals, you just want to hang in there. And I think hanging in there is 2-2. You go 2-2 because if we think like, oh man, we really think the Baltimore Ravens got to figure out because they won back-to-back games, that's still in them to blow double-digit leads, because they were on the verge of blowing a double-digit lead last night. So, yeah, they came back on Tampa Bay after being down and got up huge, and then slowly but surely let the lead slip away. So they're still in it as long as they go 2-2 in these next 4 games before Jamar Chase gets back. And NFL being the NFL, it'll probably go that way.
Here's the one phrase you used was just hang in there, just hang in there. Don't you get the vibe that the Bengals have just been hanging in there? Because starting the season, they just haven't looked right. And every week it's we'll be fine, we'll be fine, we'll be fine. We just got to hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. Well, you're still hanging in there, and now you add this to the mix. DJ Reader into the mix, Hendrickson into the mix. I think Wilson into the mix. So you add all these guys into the mix. I still feel like it's just constant hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. And each week, more is being thrown on their plate, more is being thrown on their plate, more is being thrown on their plate. Then you add the Ravens winning last night. Like the Ravens lose last night, they could breathe a little bit. But the Ravens winning last night, I think that even adds to the pressure of Monday night. So I can't wait for Monday. That's going to be a good football game one way or another. Because the Browns they're 2-5, but they've been in every single game except that Patriots game. That's not going to be an easy game for Cincinnati. It wasn't going to be easy with Jamar Chase. And by the way, how about that line? We talked about this with Jason Fitz earlier in the week. He said there was a lot of weird, spreads this week. The weirdest one was the Browns and the Bengals. So the Bengals had the start of the week as a 3-point favorite over the Browns. That's how the week started. Then early yesterday afternoon, before the news of Jamar Chase, the line moved to 3.5.
Yeah.
And then Jamar Chase is announced as out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then the line just dropped back to 3, which is originally where it was to start the week with Jamar Chase. It's very strange. This is a very weird game. And clearly Vegas isn't comfortable going all in on the Bengals, obviously, just routing what many believe is a bad Cleveland Browns 2-5 team. I think the Bengals are better than what their record says. I think so is the Cleveland Browns. But we all know the cliche, you are what your record says you are. So there's that. All right, 518-1410. Nick Knopf says it'll be easy. Okay, bud, if you say so. All right, let's go to Mark. Mark in Dayton, you're up, sir.
Yeah, hey, how you doing, Justin? I'm a long-time listener, and I only called in maybe one other time, but I'm a huge Browns fan, and I know what you're coming from on these Bengals fans. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them can be so annoying, man.
Yeah.
But, my thing is, I don't know. The Browns have been in every game, like you said, except the New England game, and I think the biggest question I would have for the Browns maybe winning is they're looking to deal Kareem Hunt. From what I read before Jamar Chase's story came out, I read a story where they had him maybe dealt after Monday night to the Rams for a 3rd-round pick, which, I can see the Browns trying to reboot maybe and clean house. Things had gone their way. Their defense has got more holes in it than what they had probably originally planned. So I'm thinking they're looking for Deshaun Watson getting on the field, trying to get back into, real season, Deshaun Watson like next year, maybe trying to bolster the defense. But I hate to see him get rid of Hunt, and I don't know how much he will play because that's a nice 1-2 punch because their offense can be pretty potent with him out there. When Chubb sometimes needs a breather because he's just honestly he breaks off like a 40 or 45 yard run and he needs to come out for him a minute or two. So I don't know.
Mark, real quick on the Kareem Hunt situation. I think that Cleveland and friends I've talked to that live in Cleveland that do sports radio over there, they just said the vibe right now is Cleveland. They are basically the season's coming down to this Monday night. So it's actually a good timing for Cleveland because they're going to go all out on Monday night. If they get that win over Cincinnati, they're still right there in the mix of things atop the division. And I think they're going to keep Kareem Hunt at that point because they're within striking distance and they just have to remain, keep their head above water as they get closer to Deshaun Watson's return. If they lose to Cincinnati on Monday, they're 2-6. Their season is done, and there is no point in keeping Kareem Hunt. They will move him as the deadline approaches the very next day. I think you're going to see a couple names be moved off of that roster after next Tuesday. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I think it all comes down to the result of the Browns and Bengals game. The Browns with 2 wins should not be in this division, but teams are letting them hang around. And I think that's a dangerous thing for the Ravens and Bengals to be letting this Browns team hang around with Deshaun Watson coming back here in a few weeks. I thought, honestly, Mark, I thought they would have about 7 wins heading into week 13, just looking at things coming into the season. If they lived up to that, they would be right there at the top. They'd be sitting at the top, and that's just not the case. So them not living up to what the bare minimum expectations should be while the other teams are floundering as well. It's just a very weird division this year.
It is, and I was just shocked at the defense. They just had more. They only had like 1 or 2 playmakers, and it's hard to stop anybody when you only got. It takes 11 playing in the right spot, doing the right things, and they just have blown coverages. They just getting ran on. But just one thing I'll say that, and I get off and let you go to the next caller. One thing that I told my buddy, he didn't like it too well. He's a huge Bengal fan. And this is a trivia question for 20 years down the road. Who is the only AFC North quarterback that Joe Burrow never beat head-to-head? And the answer is going to be Baker Mayfield. And he's the backup probably. So, just tell him that because that's Mayfield, I rooted for him, yeah, but I don't like short quarterbacks. That's a topic for another day. But you have a good show, and go Browns. Hopefully they can pull it off Monday night.
All right, good stuff, Mark. Thank you.
Mark doesn't like short quarterbacks.
I think of all the callers we have more callers named Mark than any other name. Right? Mark and Charlie, which we'll get to in a second. So Nick Noth on Facebook, Kev, he goes, you put a lot of faith in a quarterback who hasn't seen the field in 2 years. Why do you guys keep going and reverting back to these same lazy takes over and over and over? It's like you read it from someone like that has a blue check mark or something on social media, and then you guys who don't know anything about what you're talking about just keep repeating it over and over and over and over. That's a lot of faith to put a guy who hasn't played in 2 years. He hasn't played in 2 years. You're right. That is a lot of faith to put to someone as far as this season. But if you ask Kev, I didn't pick the Browns to make the playoffs this season. Like I said, coming in, the Browns are when they with the 4-game suspension. I said, yeah, the Browns are a playoff team as a 4-game suspension. The Browns are not a playoff team. The second that they announced that Deshaun Watson got the 11 game is for the reasons that you're kind of alluding to, as far as saying put a lot of faith into that guy, who's been out for 2. That's why they're not making the playoffs this year. But they're not an easy team to knock off either. I think Deshaun is going to be rusty when he comes back. He's not going to be sharp. But once he does get his legs back underneath him and once he gets to rolling again, yes, he is going to be very, very good, and so will the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns, because they have an elite quarterback, will be looked at as the same as the Ravens and the Bengals. Once you have an elite quarterback, you have expectations to win. And if the Browns were 2-5 with Deshaun Watson, I would be judging this team in a completely different light. You think I'm being too harsh on the Bengals? I'm judging the Bengals because they have an elite quarterback. And if you have an elite quarterback, you should be winning more football games. That's how I view it. I think teams with elite quarterbacks get judged a lot differently than a team like the Seahawks. We think are having a great year because they're doing it with a backup quarterback. And they, they're rebuilding supposedly. The Giants, same thing. The Jets, same thing. But once we finally get tired of the sub 500 teams like the Giants and Jets when the season, finishes out, now we're no longer looking at these quarterbacks as feel-good stories. Then we get tired of them. Baker was a feel-good story for like a hot minute, and then people got bored with him because he just kept winning and losing, winning and losing, winning. If you're not winning and winning consistently, the media moves on from you very quickly. Deshaun Watson's going to get a little window to come in and get it figured out. But yes, I don't think we're going to run into, Kev, as Russell Wilson's situation. Deshaun Watson could play. Deshaun Watson could play, and we know he could play, and he's going to be just fine.
Browns Nation, let's ride.
No, I'm not saying that ever again. Charlie, what's up, dude?
Otto Graham is the only quarterback Cleveland didn't ruin, and that's when they had Paul Brown. You've ruined everybody since then for like the last 80 years.
He's back. I knew it. I knew we were going to get Charlie back. What's up, man?
Bernie Kosar is a raging alcoholic. You ruined Baker Mayfield. Deshaun Watson's trash. He won 4 games his last year in Houston. You act like he's so amazing. He won 4 games.
So
that's it.
We're going to judge
4
quarterbacks based on
games.
record. You know,
He's
Joe Burrow's
trash.
like a 500 quarterback, right? So does that make him?
Joe Burrow in the last 5 games.
No. That's not how it
4-1.
works. That's not how it works, buddy.
I'm telling you right now, since he got over his appendectomy surgery, 4-1 the last 5 games. 3 of them have been by double-digit points. You've lost every single game. You've lost every single game.
3.
We could rest T. Higgins. We could rest Tyler Boyd. It's not going to matter. This is not going to be a close game. We're going to blow Cleveland out. It's going to be a joke. And then you should go ahead and trade whatever his name is, Kareem Hunt. Go ahead and trade him. He's like a kid who grew up in Cleveland that hates being in Cleveland. Cannot wait to get out of there. That's crazy.
Who said that?
That's crazy.
Who said that?
Kareem Hunt. What are you talking about?
He wanted
Let's
out.
leave.
Actually, no. You want to know why that was, by the way? Because he
he's
wanted a
miserable,
contract. No, because
Cleveland
no,
sucks.
Charlie, you're being dumb like all the other Bengals fans. Listen, he wanted an extension in Cleveland. Cleveland would not give him that contract extension, so he got pissed and said, "Fine, then let me out."
Cleveland's brilliant.
That's why.
Their front office is so brilliant. They're like, no, why would we pay a good player? Why would we do that? Let's go
You
get
got
a guy
your
that's
trolling
been
cap
suspended
on,
for
and that's
2 years.
fine. But you know that it's dumb of the Browns to extend Kareem Hunt, right? Like you know that. So let's not pretend.
Was it dumb? Is it dumb?
It's very
Kareem
dumb. You
Hunt
got
led
the Ernest
NFL in
Johnson.
rushing
You
before.
got options. Plus, you don't put that much money into your run game.
You don't have options like the Bengals do. You don't have a receiving core like we do. You know what?
You mean the
Let me
number
tell you how
11?
good
The offense that's ranked number 11 in the NFL. You know the Browns come in at number 6. You know that, right? Even with all the lack of weapons they have.
Congratulations.
I'm just saying, you want to come in spitting facts,
You've
but
lost
you're sounding
5
dumb.
games in a row.
I'm just saying, like you're not making any sense.
What do you mean? We're 4-1 in the last 5. You act like
You're
we're having
4
a
and
terrible
3.
year. Are we
Stop
watching
doing
the
this like
same
you
team?
keep doing this like weird sample size to fit your narrative. You're 4 and 3.
Okay. Let's
4 and
break
3.
it down. What are the odds that Minka Fitzpatrick blocks an extra point? Is that 1 to a million?
Dude, it doesn't matter. You're 4 and 3, man. You're 4 and 3. Like, why? I don't know why you keep
but
doing
if you want to get into, if you want to break it down, because I'm trying to tell you, in the last 5 games that I've watched, we've murdered people.
You've murdered people.
Jamar Chase fractured a
But
hip.
the Saints
against
with
the
no Michael
Saints.
Thomas, no Chris Olave, no Garrett
then-
Wilson,
and
and
then-
Andy
and
Dalton
then
murdered them.
destroyed the
Yep.
Falcons.
And then you played the Falcons, the worst passing defense in the National Football League, murdered them.
Yeah,
Yes.
Joe Burrow,
Yeah, you are
almost-
quite
Joe Burrow.
I mean, my goodness, look out, AFC. We should just cancel the rest of the season and just have the Bengals wait for whoever comes out of the NFC.
Let me tell you what. We
Tell
have
me what.
2 good games left this season. Okay, we play the Chiefs and we play the Bills. That's it. Everyone else on the schedule is complete trash. Okay?
Okay.
So Jamar can take a break because we need him come playoff time. But just know that
You're
with a
4 and 3
fractured
with
hip,
them.
He
So
destroyed
you
the
think you're going to
Falcons.
be just fine without him?
We're going to win these next 4 games against garbage teams. We'll need him against
You're
good
4 and
teams
3
for
against
sure.
garbage teams. What are you talking about? Nothing's guaranteed.
Okay, what I'm telling you is the rest of our schedule, aside from 2 games, is trash. Cleveland is trash.
Your schedule's
They
been
might as
trashed
well
to this
trade
point.
Kareem
You're
Hunt.
4 and 3. I don't know why you keep saying that like your team has done anything for you to feel like you're justified in guaranteeing anything.
Yeah, okay. In the last 5 games, we've won 4.
4
3
and
of them
3.
by double digits.
4 and 3. You're 4 and 3.
Okay.
You lost
The
to
first
Cooper
2
Rush.
games
You
we
lost to
lost.
Mitch Trubisky. You've played nothing but backup quarterbacks except for Mariota and Lamar Jackson. So, and Lamar's really the only real starting quarterback there and whatever. What? 4 and 3.
You
Adios. Have a good weekend. 518-1410. 518-1410. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev, who are our callers coming up on the other side?
We got Chris and Brad.
Chris and Brad. All right, cool. Chris and Brad, you're our first callers on the other side when we come back. 518-1410. My goodness. if you were listening to that, you would have been ringing that damn bell. Just ring it once.
There you go.
Thank you.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Thanks for the coffee. No problem. With my cash rewards card from Navy Federal Credit Union, I get up to 1.75% cash back. Isn't it 1.5%? Now it's up to 1.75%. That's bigger and better. I bought these scones with my cash back. I love scones. Me too. Scones for everyone.
When you sign up for direct deposit, you can earn up to 1.75% cash back with the Cash Rewards Card. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're going to feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
You need employees.
Tell me about it.
Actually, tell us about it.
Why?
Because when you tell us about your job openings, we can tell over 300,000 other people.
You can?
Yeah, whether you're looking for a job or a better job, Alpha Media Recruitment can help fill any position with qualified job seekers with a custom plan that combines our broadcast and digital platforms.
You can do that?
It's what we do. Alpha Media Dayton, on air, on site, on demand. Call 937-519-0111. That's 937-519-0111. Or email DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com. That's DaytonJobs@alphamediausa.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
I'd love to get back to our regular scheduled programming. I had this great rundown for today. I was all jacked. My ADD is in full force today. Bengals fans coming out hot, which, by the way, I appreciate. I'm stubborn too, but there you go. So this comes from Ryan Strong. Kev, I've been waiting for the fire of the Bengals fans. They've been holding out on me for the last 7 weeks, but now all of a sudden, this is how I know they felt in control the last 7 weeks. You know how I know that they don't feel as confident in their team? Because they're taking it out on me now. Before they were just leaving me alone because whatever. That's Kinner. He just he's talking, he's doing his thing. We're Bengals fans. We have Joe, but we're going to be fine. You know how I know they're not going to be fine? Because I could sense the uneasiness in them now. Now they're pissed, Kev. Now they're screaming out. They're lashing out. They're angry. They're upset. They're making jokes about the quarterback of the Browns because that will bring Jamar Chase back faster. I mean, my goodness. I think what they're also mad about, there's a chance that Jamar Chase we'll get Deshaun Watson back before they get Jamar Chase back. I think that's the other thing that bums them out. I don't know what's happening here, but all season I've been running my mouth. Nothing. Why now all of a sudden are you guys lashing out? It's because you guys truly have felt the whole time that you guys are going to be fine. You know what's different now? You don't feel in control anymore. You don't feel like the Bengals are going to be fine. And now you're angry. And now here's annoying old Kinner, little fat, short, stubby dude, just talking smack, making fun of your team. And it pisses you guys off. And now you've had enough.
Your new nickname is 8 Mile.
Dude, I got to run this 9 miler thing coming up in February. I get to work today, by the way. And Kev's like, he don't even let me get all the way up the stairs. And he's blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at him like, Kev, you're going to have to shut up for 1 second. If you want me to respond, I got to catch my breath. I couldn't even 8 Mile. My goodness. That's all I think about.
When is that?
In February.
Ooh.
Yeah,
it's basically November.
I'm basically screwed.
And this is in Florida?
Pensacola.
Ooh.
I keep thinking of it as just a trip to Pensacola, but it's
road trip.
I forgot once the plane lands, I'm there for a reason. Holy moly. All right. So, Damon Hahn, Kinner is Charlie delusional. He makes your point about the Bengals fans for you. He's Charlie's back, by the way. That's how I knew.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah. That was the old Charlie. Every time Charlie's called in the last couple of weeks, I'm like, that ain't Charlie. It's Charlie, but it's not Charlie. He's back. Ryan
not
Strong.
the Charlie you wanted.
Ryan Strong said, Justin, not all Bengals fans are morons like that. Oh, man. Do I still think Bengals will win Monday night? Yes. But to blow them out? No. We will win by 3 thanks to Money Mac. It could come down to the kickers. And as much as I like Cade York, I like McPherson better. So if it does come down to that, that makes me a little worried. Just saying. But nonetheless. All right, 518-1410. I do want to move on to the college football stuff coming up here in a moment, but I want to make sure we get in everyone's calls. Kev, who's up first?
We got Brad, line 3.
Brad on line 3. Brad, kick us off, sir. How are you?
Still Brian, not Brad.
Damn, Kev. My God. Hey, so let's start over. Brian, 1410. This is Kev. What's your name?
Hey, Brian.
Brad, what's up?
I don't know how you hear Brad. What are you hearing, Brad?
It's Brad, man. Please tell me your middle name is Brad at least.
If you want to believe that, we'll go with that.
My apologies.
All right, Brad Schwederman, what you got for us, sir?
Hey, I was going to kind of, what that Mr. Strong said on Facebook, not all Bengals fans are quite like that last caller.
All Browns fans are like me, though, so let's just be clear.
That's fair. It is nice to know that the Bengals record is, 4-3.
Yep. I don't know if you guys forgot. I just wanted to remind you. I just wanted to remind you.
5 games, it was very clear we're 4-1.
But to be fair, in the last week, you're 1-0. Look out.
Yeah. It depends on where you want to put the magnifying glass. I think Jamar Chase, him being out, trying to be as optimistic as I can because not all Bengals fans are, lunatics. What we want to do is, I think it's going to be kind of a blessing in disguise. When we ran into trouble, it was Joe Burrow just kind of eyeing down Jamar Chase the entire time. This is going to force him to continue what he did against the Falcons and look to other options. Maybe even get that running game going a little bit without Jamar Chase in there. And then hopefully, when Jamar Chase comes back, we have those other options locked and loaded going in the right direction. And then Jamar Chase is just that piece that's going to put us hopefully a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah, T. Higgins back in 2020, by the way, his rookie season. He was targeted 108 times. He started in 14 of the 16 games that season. He was targeted 108 times. He finished with 908 yards and 6 touchdowns. I don't really like using his rookie numbers to justify anything. We just know that he has been the guy for at least one full season during that transition year, obviously with Joe Burrow for at least the first 11 weeks, of course. And then he had, I forgot who the backup was at that time, but nonetheless, I don't know what to make of this. I know that he is talented enough to supplement the weeks that Jamar Chase is out. However, what he's going to have to learn is how does he handle double teams? How does he handle all the coverage focusing on him alone? Now, again, he's been the number one guy everywhere he's gone. It's not as if this is completely new to him, but it is kind of new in the NFL. And if, defenses take him away early as he's transitioning and learning, Joe Burrow's now having to learn how to play with him covered. And then like Tyler Boyd, Tyler Boyd is fantastic. He got that big contract years ago, and he's been the perfect veteran, receiver in this young receiving core. But this is what they're built to handle this. Yes, but just being built to handle it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to win throughout this. But it also, to be fair, doesn't guarantee that you're going to lose through this either. So I'll meet you there.
Right. Sounds good. Hey, you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you later.
Take care, Brad.
Bye.
518-1410. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I think we got all the crazy Bengal fan, the crazy ones at least out of the way. I think. Who's up next?
We got Chris, line 2.
What up, Chris? You are up, sir.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Another day in paradise. Happy Friday, by the way.
Happy Friday. I think that they're scared. I'm a Browns fan. I think Bengals fans are scared. They're kind of like a normal team now that can't run the ball. What separates the Bengals are those 3 receivers. You can't guard all 3 of them. The Browns can because of the cornerbacks they have, but not in the past anyway. Not a lot of teams have those 3 cornerbacks like you have in Ward, Newsome, Greedy, AJ Green, and those guys. So when you can't run the ball and you take out, a top 3 receiver in the league, now you find out, hey, how good is Joe Burrow? And even in the playoffs last year, it wasn't Joe Burrow. Don't get me wrong. Is Joe Burrow good? Yeah, I think he's a top 10 quarterback. But they won those playoff games because of defense and Evan McPherson. The games Joe Burrow has looked like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen has came against teams with terrible secondaries. When he lit up the Ravens last year, they were playing with their 4th, 5th, and 6th string cornerback. And same thing here, like you have made the point about with the Falcons. That is the worst secondary in all of football. Is he good? Yes, but he's even better at lighting up bad teams.
No, you are very right. Look, and by the way, the thing is, those bad defenses, to be fair to Joe Burrow, those bad defenses play quarterbacks every single week, and yet there's only one quarterback that is doing that to him consistently, and that is Joe Burrow. However, collectively, though, they're statistically the worst defenses in the league at the times that he has played them. But you know what? Good teams beat up on bad teams, and that's something that Cleveland has not been able to do as far as beating up on bad teams. But either is the Bengals because they're 4-3. They're a 500 football team right now, or a game above, whatever you want to say. But no, every point you've made is the point I've made. I talked about the defense and Evan McPherson last year. Those were the real MVPs of last year's Super Bowl run because that offensive line, was a talking point throughout because of how poor that they were, how much Joe Burrow got hit. He got sacked 20 times in 4 games or whatever it was. It was unbelievable. And then he disappeared in the Super Bowl. So, I'm just like, that's a problem as far as I'm concerned. But this is a different season. I'm curious to see Joe Burrow. I think right now, if he comes out and he just kills it without Jamar Chase, that's just going to add to the legend of Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. But if he comes out and struggles and the offense struggles, that doesn't change the perception of who Joe Burrow is. But I do think it will wake people up and realize that, hey, this offense isn't as bulletproof as people think.
He's not going to. He's not going to light up the Browns. You put Tyler Boyd on any other team, he don't get forgot about. He gets forgot about because he's sitting behind Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
That's valid.
Plus the Bengals have never been able to stop Nick Chubb and with that offensive line. DJ Reader's out. That's huge. Everybody's looking past. I could see the Browns blowing their doors off. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Browns fan, I don't think. Obviously I have some bias here, but I think the Browns could legit blow their doors off because they've never been in it. They haven't had a bad injury since Burrow's ACL against the Commanders.
Yeah, they've been very fortunate. It's one point I brought up last year. Yeah, that's one thing I brought up about last year too. They kept all their main guys were intact all season long. Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. They didn't have to go through any stretches last year without those guys. And this isn't missing a guy for a game. This is missing a guy for a month and a half. But to the previous caller's point earlier, the Bengals fan, this could be a mini blessing in disguise. They're going to learn how to kind of battle through this adversity. But as a Browns fan, I'm hoping they don't learn how to battle through it on Monday. They can learn how to do it after. But Monday is what I'm looking forward to. But, hey, man, I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Browns 38, Bengals 17. Go Browns.
All right, 38-17. That's our first prediction of, the Bengals-Browns game on Monday night. 38.
Let me guess. You're saving yours for Monday.
Yeah, because, at this point, this Bengals team's so soft. Who knows who else is going to go on this injured list?
For me, obviously, Jamar Chase is a big talking point. The news broke during the show yesterday. But another pass catcher that's out for this game is David Njoku for the Cleveland Browns. I know you and I differ about Amari Cooper, but David Njoku, who got the big contract, who I was questioning why he got a big contract, has definitely played up to that contract this season. So, in my opinion, he's their second best playmaker next to Nick Chubb, and him being out this game is a huge blow for the Cleveland Browns offense, just like Jamar Chase missing for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and look, and this is the thing about the Cleveland Browns offense too, is it's predicated around the run. Nick Chubb. It's going to be, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson, whoever it is. It's going to be focused on that. David Njoku, it's been kind of this is his best season he's had in Cleveland.
Hands down.
And not having him is going to be crucial. But Amari Cooper made some big time catches against that. Like I said, I honestly believe this. The Browns' best game of this season was last week against the Ravens. I thought defensively, that's the hardest they hit all year. They swarmed to the ball. They contained Lamar Jackson. I think they did a heck of a job last week. Offensively, they ran the football. The pass game it was a great balanced offensive attack between the run and the pass. Amari Cooper made big catch after big catch. I know that one was called off, due to the pass interference, whatever. You can call that on every play, but he pushed off. So it is what it is. But the only one, I'm sorry, that on the encroachment or whatever it was, that was ridiculous. Or the offsides, it was encroachment, but it was offsides technically. So it is whatever. There was no movement there. Bottom line is, I truly believe that was the best game the Browns played last week. And if they take that same intensity and bring that back home to Cleveland on Monday Night Football with Cincinnati reeling coming in, the Browns have been reeling all season. They've been just trying to get by all season. They've been getting through since the offseason, since this Deshaun Watson noise started. So I just think that right now, we're going to learn about who the Bengals are. They haven't had to face adversity as far as being without key guys. They've had guys out, don't get me wrong, but they haven't had guys. The guys are now being impacted. We're talking about Hendrickson. Don't know what his status is yet for Sunday, of course, or Monday night, I'm sorry. And it does help the fact that there is an extra day to kind of heal up. So that is good for really both teams kind of heading into this matchup. This game means something now, man. Like, I love it. We're not, you know what I mean? Browns, Bengals. I know you're a Steelers fan, so
I'm just a football fan. I'm gonna be watching.
It is cool that this game means something. I hate that the Browns are 2-5. The Bengals have been able to kind of get through their tough stretch, and they started playing really good football. This definitely throws a wrench into it, obviously. But I don't think they're going to collapse. But I also don't think that we're going to see some of those performances that we've seen the last couple of weeks. So we have about 5 minutes before we'll kind of call it at least this part of the show. We're going to get Jay Morrison coming up. Jay Morrison covers the Bengals for The Athletic, and he's going to join us coming up around the corner. He's at practice right now, or he's wrapping up Bengals practice right now. So I'm really curious. I was talking with Jay earlier. He said he was going to be at the Bengals practice. I'm kind of excited to see kind of what the vibe is in Bengals camp right now, as far as like kind of how they're kind of adjusting now. What I thought was weird yesterday, Kev, Ben Baby covers the Bengals for ESPN. He put out a tweet 4 hours before the Jamar Chase news was officially announced. He put out a tweet that said, hey, we're not going to, Jamar Chase will not practice today. He's a little sore, just a little soreness, but he's not going to practice today, but nothing to be concerned about. 4 hours later, he went from a little soreness and nothing to worry about to out 4 to 6 weeks. This is why I don't believe teams. By the way, Ben Baby did nothing wrong. It's the reporters. They report the information that they are given. So I'm not mad at the reporters. I'm just saying this is why I don't trust teams. I don't trust Ryan Day with Ohio State and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they don't owe us anything. Anthony Grant, I don't trust anything he's going to say as far as the updates on Malachi Smith, and I don't trust anything as far as the Bengals when it comes to Jamar Chase, or the Browns when it comes to David Njoku or anything like that. The teams don't owe us that. We want it. I want transparency, but it still annoys me. It's why I don't believe a word whenever reporters come out and say, "Oh yeah, here's a health update." Well, it's not an update. It's what the information they're feeding you to tell us, which is always BS more times than not. So I thought that was interesting. Minor soreness, just a little soreness, just going to use today as a rest day. Nothing to worry about. 4 hours later, bam, he's out for a month and a half. It's amazing how that happens.
Yeah, but the difference between college and the pros, like you have to tell the media what the injuries is because of legalized sports betting and everything like that. They have the injury report. So they can't just say, yeah, it's a lower body injury. That's the good line that they use in college football. You kind of have to be a little more specific in the NFL. So, with this Jamar Chase thing, like, it's vague still because they just say hip. Like, is it a hip bruise, hip pointer, broken hip? Like, there's a lot of things going on inside the hip. So that will be my question.
Hip, hip.
Hooray.
Kev. You jerk. So on
You set me up.
on the on the Facebook page, where did it go? Let's see. Man, where did that? Oh, there it is. Chad Kinser. Got into it with him last night.
No.
He's one of the biggest Bengal homers out there, by the way. There is no way in hell, Kev. Man, no way in hell that the Browns scored 38 on Cincinnati's defense. It's going to come down to defense and special teams in this game. First of all, don't say that there's no way in hell that the Browns are going to put 38 points up on the Bengals defense. Am I necessarily saying that they're going to? I'm not there yet. But to say there's no way in hell, look, I think that the Bengals defense is very, very good. But I think this stat that everyone keeps bringing up about, man, they haven't given up a touchdown in the second half. They have played Mitch Trubisky, Cooper Rush, Joe Flacco, all right? Tua's backup, Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, they have played, Andy Dalton and Marcus Mariota. Can we stop acting as if they are shutting down these elite quarterbacks in the second half? These are all some of the worst ranked offenses in the National Football League. So I really don't give two rips about that. In fact, I actually am guaranteeing that the streak of no touchdowns given up in the second half, that will come to a freaking end on Monday, because I'm so sick of hearing about that bloated stat that means nothing. Andy Dalton, Marcus Mariota, Joe Flacco, Cooper Rush, Mitch Trubisky. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding? Yeah, I would hope. I would actually be concerned if you did give up multiple touchdowns in the second half against those bums. My goodness. All
That's one prediction out of you. We're going to get that game prediction one way or another.
And Brandon Kelty says Jacoby. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. But you know what? Nick Chubb, Mari Cooper. Here come the Browns. It's going to be a sad Monday night. Halloween. These Bengals fans are going to disappear after it. We got Jay Morrison coming up here in a few moments. Let's go to, is this Packers fan, Tim?
Sure is.
How are you, sir?
Hey, not bad at all. I'm looking forward to Tuesday's show. I'm really looking forward to Tuesday's show.
I already got a tentative PTO day request put in already. I don't know. I'm feeling a little, I don't know. I feel a case of the COVID hitting me on Monday nights. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, well, I got to take issue with something you and I were talking about. I couldn't call in yesterday when you said the Packers are a top 10 defense. The Packers, as far as points given up, are like 17 or 18. Now, there were a few of those points were on a pick six that Rodgers threw, but that's how I rate defenses. I don't go by how many yards. I know maybe top 10 because teams scoring them easily and quickly. That's why Rodgers is never one of the top guys with passing yards, because he's usually very efficient. And I would say a direct correlation or a good comparison would be, sure, the Packers are a top 10 defense if Matt Ryan, who's number 5th in passing yards, is a top 5 quarterback. So I think Matt Ryan's 9 touchdowns and 9 interceptions after 6 or 7 games is a much closer indication of what he is versus him being number 5. So I wouldn't judge defenses by how many yards they give up. That's a good thing for running backs, yards gained, but defense is giving up, it's about the points, man. And the Bills are great because they've given up 61 points, not because they've given up, so few yards. So what are your thoughts on that, Mr. Kinner?
My thoughts on that is you can't just come in and change the definition of stats. I mean, if ESPN, they send me this report every week, and the number 9 defense in the National Football League is the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going to go with what ESPN says. Tim,
okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's cool. Then you got it. Then you're going to go with Matt Ryan being the number 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Hey, and that's fine. If that's what the stats say, because these aren't opinions. These are stats.
That's what he is.
This isn't COVID where we just make up stuff as we go. I mean, this is actual.
No, I'm not making up anything.
Yeah.
The Packers are number 17 or 18 as far as points given up. Puts them in the top 10. That puts them at the beginning of the bottom half. And Matt Ryan, we all know he's not one of the top 5 quarterbacks, but if you go to your ESPN website right now and you click on offensive leaders, you click on there, and there's going to be Matt Ryan, who's been benched. And we all know, and I like Matt Ryan. In fact, I like all these quarterbacks, but he's not the top 5 quarterback, just like the Packers are not a top 10 defense.
But they're ranked 9th in total defense. Hey, Tim, thank you, man. They are ranked 9th in total defense. That's not an opinion. It's here in front of me. And Matt Ryan, I'm not saying he's the 5th best quarterback of the NFL, but he is the 5th ranked. He has from total yardage or total yards on the season 5th. I don't know what you want to say to that. I mean, it's right. I mean, it's not an opinion. It's here. It's calculated. It's there.
Glue factory.
That's fine. I mean, I'm not arguing that Matt Ryan is anything other than a backup quarterback at this point. But my goodness, I'm just saying. We could all, but as this always goes back to what you could always make numbers sing and dance.
True indeed.
Except for 4 and 3.
Or 2 and 5.
Hey, as I've said before.
Or what's our record? 1 and no, we got 2 wins.
Yeah.
We're also 2 and 5.
It's all about expectations. And the expectations for a team that wasn't in the playoffs last year coming in this year with a backup quarterback and Joe Woods is a defensive coordinator, I'm not that surprised that they're 2 and 5. I am surprised that a team that was in the Super Bowl with
You're not surprised that they're 2 and 5?
Quarterback. I'm not surprised. With that defense, I've been screaming about that defense since last year. In fact, I was also on the one saying they're always one of those weird teams that I watch, and I don't understand how they statistically they're a top 10 defense, but I watch them and I think that they look absolutely horrible.
I think you just proved Tim's point.
I didn't say he was technically wrong. He was trying to say I was wrong, and I'm not wrong because it says it right there. I'm actually kind of agreeing with him that, like, yes, the numbers don't always tell the story, but statistically, yes, they are a top 10 defense. But at the end of the day, Cleveland Browns 2 and 5, backup quarterback. They weren't projected to make the playoffs anyway, so I don't understand how that's shocking that they're 2 and 5. What is shocking is a team that should be as good as the Bills and the Chiefs are not. With Joe Mixon, with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, with an improved offensive line, with a defense that hasn't given up a touchdown in the second half all season, they're 4 and 3. We'll be right back. Jay Morrison with The Athletic covers the Bengals. He'll finally bring some normalcy to the show when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be clear and sunny, a high near 63. Tonight's going to be mainly clear, a low near 40. And tomorrow's going to be clear and sunny, a high near 68. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Buckeye football season parties for the big game. You need the Lee's famous recipe Buckeye Bucket. It comes with 25 pieces of the delicious jumbo breast strips for only $44.99. Of course, you can add a few of their famous country side items, buttermilk biscuits, gallons of fresh brewed Lee's iced tea, or lemonade. You have the perfect recipe for a tailgate or watch party. Cheer on the Buckeyes this weekend with a Buckeye Bucket. Order today.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Visit Menard's Lighting Showroom and find your style with Patriot Lighting. Ceiling fans are an easy way to update the look of any room while helping reduce your energy costs year-round. We carry a great selection of styles and finishes in stock. Get 11% off all ceiling fans and find your style with Patriot Lighting now at Menards. Good through October 30th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, recipient of Honda's President's Award. When your vehicle needs service, we make it convenient. Open 6 days a week, including all day Saturday. We also welcome same-day appointments and walk-ins as well. Our technicians are factory trained, and we offer a new state-of-the-art facility, clean waiting rooms, loaner cars, and free alignment checks as well. Ask for the $99.95 alignment special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON info.com.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Justin Kinner back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today, use my promo code Kinner, Kinner. Then you will be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all of your favorite teams and all of your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. I think that's pretty cool. All you got to do is download the app. When you register, you use my promo code Kinner, my last name, Kinner, and then you're going to have $100 in free bets waiting for you in your account when sports betting goes live here in the state of Ohio. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It is safe, it is secure, and it is super easy to use. Come on, Dayton, this is your chance to get in on the action. Use my promo code Kinner when registering your account today, Kinner. Have $100 in free bets waiting for you. Come on, it's a heck of a deal. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Fall into a new career. KTH Parts Industries has immediate openings, second shift production associates, and equipment technicians. Material handling experience is a plus. This is an excellent new opportunity that offers an attractive benefit package, medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage, starting at $19.75 per hour with annual increases. KTH is hosting open interviews Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Visit kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Ohio State, Penn State tomorrow, a noon kickoff, 10:30. Coverage begins right here on Dayton's radio home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio, and of course on our sister station, 92.9 Jack FM. Keith Byers and Mr. Kev Nash will be live at Submarine House tomorrow morning starting at 10:30. They are opening early for the Buckeye crowd, of course, so stop in, get a seat. It's one of the coolest places in the Miami Valley to go watch a Buckeye game, an NFL game, whatever your game of choice is, but especially for Ohio State. We've started that partnership with them this year. It's one of my favorite spots to go do a live show from. And tomorrow it'll be Kev Nash and Keith Byers again live from Submarine House in Kettering. They'll go live starting at 10:30 right up through kickoff, which is a noon kick. Ohio State, Penn State, top 25 matchup and the final dress rehearsal, if you will, ahead of the very first college football playoff rankings release coming up on on Tuesday. ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz already shot me a note and said he can't wait for Tuesday's show. He goes, just realized I'll be hopping on with you guys every Tuesday on the day of the rankings release. So he's pretty jacked about that. This is my favorite time of year, but as we talked about, only about what, a month left?
Yeah.
Like favorite time of year, but it goes by like that.
Super quick. And it's a super busy weekend of college football. You talk about obviously the matchup between the Buckeyes and Penn State, but you also got Kentucky and Tennessee. Florida's down or whatever, but it's still a rivalry game. So it's a lot of good college football out there this weekend.
Yeah, there is a couple big bye weeks for teams as well. I mean, Clemson and Alabama, both teams 5 and 6, a bye week this week. Clemson will have, they'll be at Notre Dame a week from tomorrow. And then Alabama will be at LSU, who's come screaming back onto the scene as a contender. Maybe not a playoff contender, but at least a chaos. They're gonna create chaos. That's to say the least. Speaking of chaos, things are getting a little chaotic in the National Football League. And as I said yesterday, the Bengals have won 2 straight games, but they've also picked up, despite their 3 losses on the season, they've picked up their biggest yesterday. Jamar Chase timetable. But as I pointed out yesterday, some Bengals reporters had tweeted out, and again, this coming from the Bengals, that Jamar Chase, he's going to sit out practice yesterday. Little soreness, just a little soreness. There's nothing to be concerned about. And then 4 hours later, bam, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. So, man, I woke up a little sore today. Who knows how? I don't know. Well, I could be off the show, which would be a huge win for a lot of Bengals fans, me off the air for the next couple of weeks. But let's bring on a friend of the show, Jay Morrison. He covers the Cincinnati Bengals for The Athletic. Kev, what line?
He is on line 2.
On line 2. Jay, welcome, sir. How are you?
Hey, Justin. I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Appreciate you taking time. You wrapped up practice today for the Bengals, of course. I'm sure yesterday was a very interesting day, of course, with the news that came out about Jamar Chase. What can you take away? What are some of your takeaways after the Bengals practice today, the first practice since the announcement, of course, of Jamar Chase being out for the next 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, nothing really to take away from practice. It was post-practice. Zach Taylor, the head coach, talked to the media very briefly. The key takeaways there are they're going to wait a couple more days before they decide to put him on IR. I think that's coach speak. I think it's probably likely that he is going to go on IR, which means a mandatory 4-game absence at the latest or at the least. He also said, I don't know how he knows this, but he said that Jamar will make a full recovery. And then he did not answer many other questions as far as timeline, surgery, any of that kind of stuff. But everything that we've heard is that he does not require surgery. It is a fracture of the hip. It's just a matter of how fast does a young man's bone heal.
Jay Morrison covers the Bengals for The Athletic with us here. Let me ask you yesterday's timeline. A lot of great reporters cover the Cincinnati Bengals, of course, you being one of them. But I saw a tweet yesterday from another reporter that had said that, Jamar Chase woke up feeling a little sore yesterday, was going to be out of practice. And then about 4 hours later, he's out from 4 to 6 weeks. You covering this team, you getting that same information, obviously. How surprised were you when it went from, just sitting out of practice, a little sore and banged up as we've seen the last couple of weeks, to holy crap, he's out the next 4 to 6 weeks. What was your reaction when that news finally hit your desk?
Yeah, I mean, you started hearing a little bit of whispers even on Wednesday, and I think what the Bengals wanted to do naively was keep this under wraps until later in the week so that, not to tip off the Browns. It's 2022. You're not going to keep news like that under wraps. I don't know who it was that eventually let it out, but it's just something that he originally heard it in the New Orleans game. He re-injured in the Atlanta game. He finished. It was the last play of the half before they punted, and he walked off, went in, got some treatment at halftime, came back, finished the game. But obviously it was a snow job just saying it was a little sore. I think they wanted to not tip the Browns, and it'll be interesting to see Denzel Ward dealing with this lingering concussion. I wouldn't be surprised to see all of a sudden he returns to practice today, knowing he's not going to have to face Jamar Chase on Monday.
Speaking of the game on Monday, what is the Bengals' approach to this? Obviously, Jamar Chase is the number one offensive weapon for them. Are they just going to try to roll out there with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, or do they expect Mike Thomas to step into the Jamar Chase spot?
Yeah, I would assume they're going to call up Trenton Irwin from the practice squad. It's just going to be a back of the roster guy, just that extra receiver you need on game day. They can do that without putting Jamar on IR, but it just doesn't fit the MO of this organization to go out and trade for somebody, even if they knew it was going to be a 6-week absence. I just don't see it. Got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Logan Wilson. You've got all these guys that are going to become huge contracts next year. Those draft picks that they don't like to trade normally are more valuable than ever. Maybe they go and sign somebody off somebody's practice squad, somebody that they were high on in the draft, and someone that they think can work their way into maybe being a role player. But you're just not going to replace Jamar Chase. It is going to be on T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd to pick up the bulk of the slack, and then it's going to be interesting to see, do the Browns take the tact that the Miami Dolphins took, and the Dolphins double-team T. Higgins and double-team Jamar Chase? Are the Browns going to do that and double-team those guys? If that's the case, then you're looking at guys like Trent Taylor and Mike Thomas that are going to need to step up. And then don't forget, too, tight end Hayden Hurst, Joe Mixon out of the backfield. Chris Evans, who is an excellent pass-receiving running back, could line up wide. They're not tipping their hand, but you're probably going to see Joe Burrow targeting a lot of different guys Monday night.
You know, other people banged up on the Cincinnati Bengals went out last week. Lyle Collins and Trey Hendrickson. What's the latest on those guys?
Yeah, Collins, I think, is going to be fine. He was dealing with that back early part of the year. They were giving him Wednesdays off anyhow. He was back at practice today on a limited basis. He left that game Sunday, but he did return. I expect him to play. Hendrickson's getting a little more iffy. Zach seemed optimistic about him on Monday and said he was day-to-day, but he has not practiced yesterday or today. Doesn't necessarily mean he won't go, but anytime you're talking about a new injury and a guy missing the first 2 days of practice in the week, then you start getting concerned. So they've got the youngster Joseph Osai, who they drafted last year in the 3rd round, suffered the knee injury in the first preseason game. He would be the one that would fill in for Hendrickson if he can't go.
We have Jay Morrison with us, covers the Bengals for The Athletic. Jay, you mentioned Hayden Hurst just a little bit ago. Yesterday, limited in practice. Today, you have him on the injury report. He's off of that. But what was, on there? It says injury, kind of groin and ankle. Obviously, just, minor midseason bumps and bruises, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the groin's been there for a few weeks. He's been on the injury report the last couple of weeks with that. He's fought through it and played well. The ankle is a new entry there, so that must have been something that flared up. Something people may not know is sometimes these injuries, if they get any sort of treatment for an injury at all, they have to appear on the injury report. The fact that he's been limited in the past and played, he's still limited, he's still actually out there doing some work, I think is a good sign, especially with them being down Chase. They're going to do everything they can. He's going to do everything he can to play Monday night.
Jay, obviously the sky is not falling yet for the Cincinnati Bengals by any means. But
it's not.
It's not. But the crazy thing is last year, no matter what I say, I'm a hater, so it is what it is. I'm okay with that. But I remember last year, one point I made is one of the reasons, what do I attribute to the Bengals Super Bowl run? I said, well, not luck as in, they're lucky to be there, but their luck, they had a lot of luck as far as their health last year. I'm not saying no players missed any time last year, but overall their main core stayed relatively healthy all season. Joe Burrow, no matter how much he was hit, was out there. Same thing with T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. I mean, a lot of key weapons on the defense as well. Some guys missed some spot games here and there, but overall everyone was together. And I said coming into this season, the one thing that could derail all of that is health. It's rare to see teams remain healthy back-to-back seasons. And that's what we're seeing now. It is going to be interesting to see how Zach Taylor, how Joe Burrow, how a lot of these guys kind of acclimate to facing adversity like this for the first time. How do you view this team, stepping up to the plate to be able to address some of these things, especially heading into a big rivalry game on Monday Night Football on the road against the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, I think they'll handle it from that aspect. I mean, think about it. How many teams would love to have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Mike Thomas as their top 3 receivers? Yes, it hurts losing Jamar Chase, but they're still in pretty good shape there. And then you look at all the other weapons And they are still a pretty healthy team, even with Jamar out. I mean, that O-line, every guy has started all 7 games.
Yep.
And not many teams can say that. Going into last week, 18 of their 22 starters had started every single game. So Jamar is a huge hit, but this team is still in pretty good shape. I think that's why you saw them not play anybody in the preseason and have that soft, if you will, off season. It's to prevent those kind of soft tissue injuries and to go into the season healthy. They're still in good shape health-wise. And I think the one thing everyone forgets, everyone's talking about, how do you replace Jamar Chase on that offense? This defense has been terrific. And if this defense keeps playing the way they're playing, they don't need to score 30 a game. They've given up 20 or fewer points in 5 of their 7 games. I think that's what's really going to carry this team. And if you ask me, that's what carried them to the Super Bowl last year. It was the offense that got them to the playoffs. It was the defense that got them through the playoffs.
I was a hater when I said that. But, Jay, I would hope they can hold these teams to no touchdowns in the second half. I mean, damn, they play all these damn backup quarterbacks. I mean, my goodness.
And they're doing it again. I mean,
they're doing it again.
He's a backup quarterback. And then you got P.J. Walker from Carolina, and then you've got the rookie Kenny Pickett. I mean, think about it. Their next 3 opponents are all sitting 2-5 right now. There's never a good time to lose Jamar Chase. But right now with that schedule, and if they do want to make a move, it happens a few days before the trade deadline instead of a few days after the trade line. This could have happened at a lot worse time.
No, absolutely. And it sets up what is a very big game coming up on Monday night, the Bengals and the Browns. It was going to be big no matter what, as I feel like if the Browns lose Monday, their season is done. I'm not saying that they're still, they're statistically still in the fold, at least from a standings perspective. But, man, they lose Monday, it's officially done. So I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing again, Monday Night Football in Cleveland, and they smell blood in the water with no Jamar Chase. The last thing I want to bring up about the Jamar Chase thing before we let you go, Jay, is the fact that, we talk about, everyone's making a big deal about how, they're fine. They got T. Higgins, they got Tyler Boyd, they have depth there, and I completely get that. The way I'm coming at it from is that I think this team, many people anticipated a much hotter start, obviously. Let's say they're, 5-2 at this point, or they're 6-1, which they very well could be. They could be undefeated at this point, technically. But, you have a little bit more wiggle room now. Now it's not as much of a concern. Who cares? I think the 4-3 start is where I'm looking at this, because there's going to be a point where there's really not a whole lot of margin for error. You still have 2 division games coming up. They haven't won in the division yet. Monday's a very important game for them from that perspective, although it sounds like most people on Bengals side don't feel that worried about the upcoming stretch of games. I think there is a lot to be worried about over the next 4. It's not like they've been consistent. They are 4-3 against bad teams at this point anyways. I'm just thinking that start, the slow start to the season, could come back to haunt them, and now they don't have that wiggle room like many people expect them to have, again, moving into these next 4, already 4-3.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's that division record that is the most concerning, because if they do lose to Cleveland and go 0-3, since the AFC North was founded, in 2002, only 2 teams have won the division with 3 or more division losses. Yeah. You're sitting at 0-3. Best case scenario is 3-3. It's just, and then you're talking tiebreakers. That's you're not going to win a tiebreaker if they finish with the Ravens. And go look at that Ravens schedule from here on out. There's one team currently with a winning record, and that's the Bengals in Week 18. The Ravens have a really soft second half schedule. So yes, this is a huge game for the Bengals, because they need to keep pace with the Ravens, who won last night. And if any of your listeners out there like to put a little money down on games, I don't know how much relevance you want to put on this, but the Bengals have lost 23 of their last 24 primetime road games.
Oh, man, look at Jay promoting illegal gambling here. Justin
Well, it's legal in some places. They could be listening on the internet in Indiana.
That's
across the river.
Yes, exactly. Jay, ready for my hot take for Monday?
Yeah, let's have it.
The Bengals defense will give up 2 touchdowns in the second half. 2 touchdowns with this. Their streak of no touchdowns in the second half comes to an end. The Browns are going to blow it all up, and they're winning on Monday night.
Well, if that happens, I would put money down that those 2 touchdowns are both scored by Nick Chubb, because he has absolutely owned this team, and he gets stronger as the game goes on. They're still down DJ Reader. This run defense is in a stretch of playing the top 4 running defenses in the league right in a row. That is the big concern for this defense, is can they stop Nick Chubb? And I think that's going to be on Joe Burrow and the offense to try to get out to a big lead and not Cleveland just lean on the run game.
Nah, I'm going to Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb. It's a touchdown each in the second half. It comes doing it. Now, Jay, you're the best, man. I appreciate you taking time and hanging out with us today. Hear that podcast growling. You know how much I love the Bengals, but it shows how much I appreciate your work, Jay, because I listen to tune into you. Hear that podcast growling again with The Athletic. Talk about your podcast and where people could download your podcast. You and Paul Dehner Jr. do a fantastic job.
Yeah, thanks. The Athletic app, you can get the show on there, or you can go to theathletic.com and get the show there. We have episodes that are free to listen to, and then we will have a live room on Monday. If you want to pop in and you're a subscriber, you can ask us some questions right there live on the podcast. We do 3 a week, so love to have anybody that would be willing to pay for a subscription. We try to make it worth your value.
All right, good stuff. Jay Morrison covers the Bengals for The Athletic. Jay, thanks so much, sir. We appreciate you.
Great talking to you, Justin.
All right, good stuff there. The Bengals and the Browns, Monday Night Football. Yes, Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb, a touchdown in the second half. That streak comes to an end. But shout out to Jay Morrison, covers the Bengals for The Athletic, taking the time and hanging out with us here today. But any closing thoughts on the Bengals? We're going to close this book, at least for today, heading into the weekend. I want to talk some college football.
Yeah, man. OH!
All right, 518-1410. Bengals fans, this is your final chance to get any parting words to me heading into the weekend before we finally head into some college football discussion. 518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
When I got the news, I was shocked. I was scared. I was angry. When I heard it could be treated with the right care, I was relieved. I was happy. I was given a second chance.
Urology Specialists of Ohio offers men peace of mind. 5 physicians and 5 locations. Now accepting new patients. Make an appointment with a physician that cares about your health and prevention. Urology Specialists of Ohio, Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. Online at urologyspecialistsofohio.com.
How did hiring the right person become so difficult? Well, it doesn't have to be. Alpha Digital already has targeted databases built of very qualified candidates that are just looking for the right opportunity. That allows you to target exactly who you're trying to reach with a budget that is customized just for you. Learn.
That's why on November 8th, I'm voting for Tony Shane for Montgomery County Common Pleas Court Judge.
Paid for by citizens to elect Shane.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Did you know that 3 Ohioans are diagnosed with oral cancer every day? Dentists are doctors of dental surgery and can recognize life-threatening conditions and treat oral diseases before they become serious health complications. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Veterans, were you exposed to harmful burn pit smoke while serving overseas? The Department of Veterans Affairs has recognized and is providing benefits to veterans who suffer with asthma, rhinitis, and sinusitis as a result of burn pit exposure. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations or Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Syria, or Djibouti, and suffer from any respiratory illnesses that you believe is a result of exposure to burn pits, contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
The best audio entertainment this fall is on Audible. It's the home of storytelling with audiobooks, exclusive originals, popular podcasts, and more. All in one app. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of your Ohio State Buckeyes, Roosters is giving away 12 trips for 2 to this year's Buckeye Bowl game. Each trip comes complete with airfare, hotel, gift bag, and 2 tickets to the big game. One bowl prize winner will be chosen each week, along with other cool Roosters weekly prizes. So register every week at roosterswings.com. Roosters, a fun casual joint and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Official contest rules at roosterswings.com.
Dayton sports fans, for more local sports content, make sure to subscribe to Dayton's ESPN Radio YouTube channel. And don't miss the Miami Valley's only local sports talk show, The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 Wing AM. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Call to go ask doing high school football playoffs. Unfortunately, no, we are not. We will be a team that does advance to this. Keep in mind, we'll have every Miami Valley that does advance to the state championship. We'll have those games right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. A couple of big ones tonight. A lot of games we do out of the GWAC, especially, is the conference we work very close with, Kev. But tonight, Fairmont and Wayne.
Huge
tonight. That's a big one right there.
Get your popcorn.
So I talked about this the other day when you weren't here, but I get why they're in the same region, but I hate the fact Wayne doesn't deserve to have their season end tonight. Neither does Fairmont. Now you could say that about every high school team, yada yada. I know everyone's winners, no one's losers, everyone blah 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 blah. But it's insane to me. It's like some of these teams, they're not punished, but because they play in such a deep conference. I mean, 6 of the 8 teams made the playoffs in Miamisburg. They had to work hard to not make the playoffs. That team was too stacked to not make the playoffs, but they have no one. I mean, that's on them. They didn't perform the way they were supposed to. It's unfortunate. I hate talking high school sports for this very reason. I feel like I have to constantly put out a disclaimer if I call out a team that didn't play, because I just feel bad. They're kids. You know what I mean? They're just as sick about it, so bringing it up is just I get, they're not adults in college and the NFL making millions of dollars to talk about Pop-Tarts on TV. So, whatever. But it's one of those things where, they have 4 losses, but that's because they're playing those 4 losses are legitimate teams that they could have easily won. I mean, the loss that they had to Fairmont, Wayne should have not easily, but they could have just as easily
went either way. Yeah.
But no, it's a good one tonight. Fairmont and Wayne. I can't wait for that one.
Oh, huge matchups. And I know We're the Miami Valley, but I got to shout out my high school, Cleveland Heights High School Tigers. We are 9-1 on the season. We have a home game tonight versus Lorraine. I'll be watching on YouTube.
Chaminade Julienne and Trotwood. I know that's not a GWAC game, but that's another interesting first round
Definitely.
game. It drives me nuts too because I want to highlight as many of the players in the Miami Valley as we can. But Trotwood is not. You can't find anything on their team anywhere. I reach out. I don't care. I reach out. I try to get information. I try to get the stats. I want to highlight their players, but we get nothing. We get crickets back. But then we're the bad guys when we don't have, you don't give our team any attention. Well, when we try to get the information to give your team attention, you don't give anything back. And I don't care if I'm calling people out over the air. I want to give your kids attention and highlight them over the air. That's frustrating. How
about this? Let me try. Anybody that has connections with Trotwood High School can get us more information about your sports programs. Please holler at me at 1Kev Nash on the gram or Twitter or at.
No, don't send it to me. You ignored me already. I tried to ask nicely the first time and I got nothing.
You think that's going to help? Think that attitude is going to help, Kinner?
I always say too, I'd be nice first, and when being nice doesn't work, I always say, well, being nice doesn't get you anywhere either.
Well, I mean, we have this big, huge microphone and this large listening audience, so maybe the emails aren't going to the right people, but this microphone could be going to the right person.
All right, whatever. You're an adult. I'm not. Northmont at Centerville tonight. Another good one. Watched Northmont last week. I like Northmont a lot, actually, but Springfield just blitzed the complete blank out of them. I mean, it was a 21-all game, and then within a blink of an eye, Springfield was in the 50s. Like, I never seen anything like it as far as how quickly the 55-21 was the final last week. Springfield over, Northmont. I was laughing too because it was a long game. The first half, Northmont and Springfield, the first half was an hour and a half long. Now, some of you are like, well, okay, yeah, I go to a lot of games, and that's how they are. You got to understand, I think of our 10 games we did this year, 4 of them were Fairmont games. KB goes, I love Fairmont, don't get me wrong. He goes, why do we have so many Fairmont games on the schedule? Well, he had the nerve to look at me at halftime and say, that first half was an hour and a half. I said, remember that next time you ask me why we do so many Fairmont games. Running clock, baby. I mean, just run. No, but 55-21 was the final last week. But Kortner, the quarterback, I really like him for Northmont. But that Bryce Schondelmeyer, if you haven't had a chance to watch Springfield play this year, holy smokes. Like, that kid could throw the football. And then Anthony Brown that's going to Kentucky. Man, that kid could play. He had like 3 plays of 50 yards or more. I mean, he finished with let me see, what did he end up finishing up with that night? Anthony Brown, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns on 5 catches. And then Dalen Bradley for Springfield, 7 catches, 132 yards and a touchdown. And then Sean Thigpen, he only had 12 yards, but he also had a touchdown. So 3 different, I mean, he spread it all around.
Tutty looked like Ohio State receivers.
Yeah. But nonetheless, it was a good game last week. But Northmont in the postseason as well. They got Centerville tonight. They faced Centerville earlier in the season. Now they got beat 37-6. But that was also a different type of Centerville team because that's back when Centerville had their a different quarterback in Drake Wells. So keep that in mind. Drake Wells, of course, went out in week 8, and we have not really seen him since then. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what kind of a different matchup this is. Postseason is always different. I love postseason in the Miami Valley, especially. And some of these are rematches. Do you like?
I love it.
You do like it.
I love it.
It sounds like you get to the postseason, you want to feel like you're playing something different, or do you like that they're playing the teams that you've already seen them play?
I like it because it's kind of like, all right, for any, excuse that another team had for losing to that team, well, here's your rematch. Here's your chance to get back. And like you just said, playoff football is so much different. I mean, they started playing in August. Yep. It's about to be November. Obviously, we can all tell that the weather has changed. So this is where it gets real physical in the trenches. This is where that run game comes into effect. Those 80-yard bombs over the top of the defense are much easier to complete when the weather is nice and beautiful and everything outside. So this is where big boy pads come out. So it's going to be real physical tonight all across the state.
So how about Xenia, 9-0 on the season?
What happened to their 10th game?
What? And by the way, because I know Springfield only played 9 games this year. What happened? Why did Xenia only play 9? Why are they showing up as only 9-0 on this? Because that I do not know. So help me out.
Because
Springfield
had their
hold
reign
on.
up.
My bad. No, they're 10-0, 9-0 in league play. My apologies. They finished the season obviously undefeated, and Xenia had one heck of a year. Obviously, until you go undefeated, we've seen Piqua last year had a big time season heading into and then Xenia the same thing coming up. But how about this schedule? So Little Miami's at Xenia tonight. We'll see Anderson at Troy, Hillsborough at Tippecanoe, Stebbins at Piqua, all right, and then Sydney at Kings. Not King's Table, but Kings. I'm just what? But nonetheless, Xenia finished the season, 10-0 overall, 9-0 in conference play. But man,
The Buccaneers.
I like Xenia a lot. Again, I love the running backs in the area too. We're talking about Drew Baker with the Fairmonts coming up around the corner. But my goodness, they have some dude, Trayshawn Sanders. I mean, he rushed for 1,700 yards. 1,700 yards. Trayshawn Sanders, he's a senior. We do our, for the Buckeye Roundtable, we do our player spotlight. And I know we've used Trayshawn Sanders on quite a few occasions, Skip Mossick and Paul Keels and them. But Trayshawn Sanders, 23 touchdowns, Kev, on the season, 1,700 yards. Not bad. Not bad at all. But I'm a big fan of his. And then the cool thing is, they have, I think, Gavin McManus, he's the quarterback for Xenia. So they have a running back that ran for 1,700 yards, and then they have a quarterback that threw for 1,400 yards. This is probably, like with Fairmont, and this is nothing against Drew Baker. Drew Baker is one of my favorite players. I watched him play for 3 years now. We've called games for him for 3 years. But like with Fairmont, it's run. It's a heavy dosage of just nothing but Baker. With Xenia, it's a little different. It's a lot of run, but they balance it out with the pass. I mean, you have the number 2 quarterback in the Miami Valley League, and then you have, of course, the number 2 running back. And that's what's crazy. There's Brock Short from Greenville that rushed for 2,100 yards on the season out of Greenville. And then Sydney has Tucker Heron, who's the top quarterback in that conference. But I like that we no longer have that Mega GWAT conference. Did you like that they split up?
I like it, but I don't. The reason I don't is just simply because I've been living in Dayton for so long and I got used to it. So this is just an adjustment, basically. That's all.
So I like it because it's just giving a little bit more teams. Like I just felt like everyone was just kind of, basically just knocking everyone around and but maybe you like that. I don't know. But I think the Miami Valley League now is going to have more of a chance to shine a little bit because the schedules have eased up nonetheless. But a lot of good games here in the Miami Valley coming up this weekend, and we'll be talking about that more over the next couple of weeks, and we'll have more coverage at wingam.com. Check out the Wing AM ESPN Dayton website. There you go. Also, if you haven't done so, make sure, for those of you who spend a lot of time on YouTube, ESPN Dayton does have a YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing to that. Lots of coverage for local, high school, college, all of our pro teams, all that fun stuff. So make sure you subscribe to that as well. 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Morgan Garber on Facebook says, any love for Xenia football? We just did. Oh, this probably came in before that. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one. You know me. I'm always fair. What? I am. All right. Who do we have, Kev?
We got DJ, line 1.
DJ, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Thanks for taking my call, gentlemen. Are we going to get any love for Shamrock Julienne Catholic High School boys against Trotwood tonight?
You just did.
I know. I heard that. Appreciate it.
No, I'm just joking. Man. I'm just joking. Talk about, they're another team too. They have a strong running back as well.
Go Eagles. And Kevin, you're just going to have to get used to the new adjustment, buddy. Life changes.
Absolutely. I really don't have a choice.
I agree with Justin on that. And God, I can't believe I said that. But I do agree with what he said about, it opens it up for some of the other teams. It's good football out there. And I'm all CJ geared up right now and anticipating this game.
Yeah, look, are you going to the game? Are you going to the game?
Going to the game. Go Eagles.
Yeah, CJ 6-4. But they're 6-4. They got Trotwood tonight. But I do. That's a very interesting playoff matchup. I'm glad that Trotwood's back, back in the postseason again. Good for them. But like CJ's another team. This is actually one of my favorite matchups of the night, as far as that's concerned. Yes.
Are you and Keith going to call a CJ game?
We did 2 years. We did a CJ game, not this season, but the previous year or last year. But we'll have. I mean, we don't know what our schedule is for next season, nonetheless.
Can I get you to commit to calling a game next season, 2023?
Well, I always like to keep people.
Put you on the spot, Justin. Yeah or nay? We can make it happen.
I will look into it. How about that?
I'm gonna call you on it, Justin.
I'm kind of running out of friends in this city, so I can't commit to anything. I can't guarantee anything. So we'll see.
Well,
might be a lot of Bengals fans over there at CJ.
You'll find plenty of friends at CJ. Now, briefly, you touched the Bengals. I got one word for Bengals fans: RELAX. Okay, and we touched on this a couple of weeks ago, and I called in, and the topic was how Burrow concentrates on Jamar Chase, and that's it. Yep. The Bengals are going to be just fine without him. Granted, he's probably the best receiver in football, but name me one team in NFL that has a better receiving core than the Cincinnati Bengals.
You said the Bengals. I'll go with the Minnesota Vikings.
Negative.
Right.
The Bengals have and you ran stats on a guy about 45 minutes ago. Looking at your ESP stats or whatever it is, ESPN. I'm sorry. You look those same stats up. The number one receiving core in football, and it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to be fine. When Jamar comes back, they'll be ready to go into the playoffs. But all this 4 to 6 week period, if it's 4 to 6 weeks, like you said earlier, these pro athletes have a tendency to heal quicker than the rest of us. But I really think it's just going to make him renewed and refreshed for the playoffs. And in the meantime, he's going to have to go back to Higgins, Boyd, his tight end, and Mixon coming out of the backfield. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
Possibly. All I was pointing out earlier was that people keep saying they're going to be fine. I don't know what that means, because with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, they're 4-3. They're barely edging by teams. They're losing to bad teams. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, when people keep saying they'll be fine, I'm like, I understand what people are trying to say, but it's not as if they're fine even with him right now. They're a game above 500. They're underachieving this season. This was supposed to be a dominant team like the Chiefs and the Bills, and they're not a dominating team. So that's why I keep trying. I'm not trying to like stir the pot, but in all honesty, people keep saying they'll be fine. But even with Jamar Chase, they're only one game above 500. And they're number 11 in total ranked offense on the season. It's not like they are just blowing the doors off of teams this season. I know they just came off, against that win over Atlanta. Atlanta has the worst passing defense in the league. They're not going to face the worst passing defense in the league every week.
Now, I'm not a Bengals fan, former Bengals fan. So I'm coming from that perspective. But if you look at that team the last 3 or 4 games, they're finally gelling and getting it together. They did have a slow start, but they're still right there in the mix. Look at the division right now.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be fine. I think they're getting better as the season progresses. And
they're 0-2 in that bad division, though.
They are, but how many games are left, Justin?
I mean, they got the Browns will be 0-3 after Monday, and they still. And keep in mind, look, they got to play at Tampa, they got to play at New England, they got Buffalo, they got the Kansas City Chiefs, they're at Tennessee. Like, this is not like I only one team from the AFC North is going to make the playoffs this year, and that's going to be Baltimore.
All right, Justin, I'm not trying to name call with the Brown Bengals thing right now, but the only 2 teams that you mentioned that I would really be concerned about is Buffalo and Kansas City. And those same Bengals beat Kansas City twice last year.
Uh-huh.
So
because of Jamar Chase.
Well, will Chase be back when they play those teams?
No, they're going to be chasing the Ravens in the AFC North. That's what they're going to be doing. But hey, hey man, I appreciate you holding as long as you did. We just got to pay. We got these paid advertisements we got to keep running.
Thanks, guys.
Adios.
Later.
518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Kev, can I be done with the Bengals, please?
Go for it.
All right. We are officially done with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Done with NFL talk.
Underachieving 4-3 team with Jamar Chase, but somehow they're going to just go undefeated without him. All right. College football.
What's that?
Ohio State, Penn State. We're going to step away for 3.5 minutes. When we come back, we're going to play our favorite game to close out the week. Kev, what's our favorite game?
Over, under. No, not over, under.
My goodness.
Cap or no cap? I got my days confused. Well, I haven't been on the show a lot this week, so I got my days confused.
Like Jamar Chase. Not going to be available. Hip, hip.
Hooray.
Oh, dude, that's bad.
Hey, man.
We'll be
hey,
right
man.
back.
It is what it is.
Cap or no cap? Actually, before, we'll set some of these up. Let me read some of these.
Okay.
You'll be thinking about during the commercial break. All right. We're going to play cap or no cap on the other side. You can chime in by heading to wingam.com. Head to the Facebook page. Sorry. The Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Head there, make sure you like the page, follow the page. But you can watch us live and jump in the conversation in the comment section. Cap or no cap? We throw out a scenario, and if it's a lie and not going to happen, it's cap. And if it's going to happen and it's true, it's no cap. Look at me. In high school, they called me Urban Dictionary. That's what they called me. So, cap or no cap? The AFC North will only get one team in the playoffs this season. Don't answer that. All right. How about, let's see. The Buckeyes are favored by 15 on the road tomorrow against Penn State. The over-under is about 60. Cap or no cap? The Buckeyes, who are averaging 49.6 points per game, will drop 50 on Penn State tomorrow. 50, cap or no cap? Let's see. One more. We could do another one. Let me throw all these out to you. Be thinking about during the break. Georgia has Florida this weekend, number 1. Number 2, Ohio State at number 13, Penn State. Number 3, Tennessee is at number 19, Kentucky. Or no, they have Kentucky coming in. Michigan, the number 4 team in the country, is welcoming in Michigan State. All teams are favorites this weekend, teams 1 through 4. Well, teams 1 through 4 all remain unbeaten after this coming up weekend. Cap or no cap. They will remain unbeaten after this weekend, cap or no cap. Be thinking about those. We'll have all those caps or no caps for you when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Home Expo. Weekdays at 3 p.m.
ESPN and AM weather.
Early clear and sunny. It's going to be mainly clear, a low near 40. And here's 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. If you've been waiting to buy, now is the time. For a limited time, we have 22 Honda Passports and 22 Honda Pilots with financing as low as 1%. On current scheduled in-build new Hondas every day. See me, sales manager Jason High, for all the details. We're on Route 35, just east of 675, between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda, Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
Have you heard? $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight with brand new equipment, and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, company 401k. Plus, they're now hiring recent truck driving school graduates. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Venture X from Capital One is the travel card for people always asking,
Where next?
you earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall, well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
If you're looking to obtain a quality education at a low price, look no further than Clark State. With over 160 degrees and certificates available, Clark State has a path for you to reach your goals. Our tuition rates are one of the lowest in Ohio, so getting that degree is easier than ever without breaking the bank. For more information about Clark State, visit us at www.clarkstate.edu.
Cap or no cap, right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, hanging out with you here on a Friday. A little bit left before we head into the weekend. Keep in mind, tomorrow, Submarine House in Kettering, the Buckeye pregame show. Kev Nash and Keith Byers will be live at Submarine House in Kettering, going live starting at 10:30. They'll walk you up through kickoff at noon. Submarine House in Kettering, opening early for Buckeye fans. So come on out, get your spot out there. Again, wall-to-wall TVs. It's a great spot to watch the Buckeyes. I always say Submarine House. By the way, we were at the one in Centerville last week. We've been at the one over in Beaver Creek. It's one of my favorite spots to watch the Buckeyes. Submarine House is the spot to watch the Buckeyes all season long, and we'll be at the location in Kettering tomorrow starting at 10:30. So come on out and take advantage of them, obviously opening early, start pre-gaming a little bit with Keith and Kev over here.
Pre-gaming. Let's get it on.
How about this? I didn't realize, cap or no cap, 2 minutes. Rick Carlisle, I forgot, is back with the Indiana Pacers.
Me too.
He won an NBA championship with the Dallas Mavericks, which seems, I was about to say, recently, but no, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
My goodness. But Rick Carlisle is back with the Pacers. He is getting heavily criticized right now because I just saw a media advisory that Indiana Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle will not be on the bench for the team's game tonight at Washington due to a personal reason. And the personal reason is that he is going to be, announcing his daughter on senior night for their cheer squad. And he is getting absolutely ripped for it. And now usually I'm the one that is very like, oh, no, you got to do your job. You got to focus. You got to concentrate. I've been disgusted by media the last 2 days. The coverage of Tom Brady getting a divorce, why that's a joke, why that is funny, why that is like Colin Cowherd, who I look up to more than anything else. He is my favorite sports talk radio host. I think he's a bum for the job that he's done covering the divorce. I mean, every chance he gets, he brings up, Tom Brady and Giselle getting a divorce. Why is that the talking point of anything? If you want to say, hey, he's going through a lot, he's distracted, that's why he's struggling, fine. But like literally went on for 20 minutes today talking about the divorce of Tom Brady and how he doesn't have everything and blah, blah, blah. I think it's weird how media has latched onto that. And I am disgusted by this, that media is criticizing Rick Carlisle for putting his daughter first. Good. I don't know how many kids he has, but it doesn't matter how many kids you have. If he wants to do that and the team signed off on it, more power to him. Good for him. Good for his daughter for having her dad, put her first and all that stuff. I think we need to see more of that from time to time. I get annoyed with this stuff. I have no problem with him doing that. I can't believe this is even being criticized as much as it is.
This is ridiculous. It's a father being a parent, being there for their kid, and we're going to ridicule him for this. Like, it's her senior night. You know how many other events he's missed over her life for basketball, for his job?
Yep.
How many people out there have used PTO days to go to their kids' play? How many people out there have used PTO days because, they felt like they haven't been spending enough quality time with their kid just to hang out, to go to the movies and things of that nature? So for Rick Carlisle to do this is awesome. Guess what? It's an 82-game season. He'll be there for another 80? It's fine. It's not the big deal. It's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, the Indiana Pacers put out a media advisory, which I got a kick out of. This was earlier today, but it says Indiana Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle will not be on the bench for the team's game tonight at Washington due to a previously scheduled event recognizing his daughter Abby as cheer captain on her senior night. Assistant coach Lloyd Pierce will assume head coach responsibilities against the Wizards. Coach Carlisle will return at Brooklyn tomorrow night. My big thing is, for one, I forgot that he was even back coaching the Pacers. I'm surprised they even put a media advisory out for that. They could have just said he's out for tonight's game for personal reasons. We're living in a day and age coming out of the little COVID era where half the time when people say, hey, he's not going to be available for tonight's game, we don't even think anything of it. We just assume, it's something with help, whatever. Should they even put that out there?
Yeah, what's there to hide? What's there to hide? This should be celebrated. This should be celebrated by every coach out there. That, hey, man, I'm a coach, absolutely, but I'm a parent first. And being there for your kids is very important. Like, I know people like, man, he's got plenty of time in the off season. This is about the game and the team. No, she's there once. She's having this special occasion. Him there one time isn't going to hurt anybody. Look at the NFL. Those coaches never not coach. I'm sure that's terrible English, but they're there every single Sunday during the regular season and postseason. So when coaches get those bye weeks, that's why you see, not only coaches, but players, when they have those bye weeks, they go back to their alma mater. Like, oh, man, I hope homecoming's around that time so I can go back down there, hang out, and be a kid again, so to speak. And for a coach to just be a dad, and take off the coaching hat for a couple of hours for one day isn't going to hurt anybody. This should be celebrated.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Cap or no cap? We throw out a scenario. If you think it's not going to happen, you say cap because it's a lie. And if you think it will happen, you say no cap because it's not a lie. I mean, it's really not that hard of a game. I make it. Cap or no cap? Again, we throw out these scenarios, and you guys can chime in live. We are on the Facebook page. Head to Facebook. Everyone has Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show. Follow the show page, and you'll get alerts on every day whenever we go live, every day from 3 to 6. You can watch the show, and in the comment section, you can jump in on the comment section and participate in the show. Let's see. Coming up, as soon as this loads. Okay, there we go. Computer's been a little dicey today. All right, Kev, cap or no cap right off the bat? We talked a lot of NFL today, rightfully so. Jamar Chase, obviously, him being out for the next 4 to 6 weeks is definitely going to throw a wrench in how the AFC North is going to kind of pan out a little bit. The AFC North will only get one team in the playoffs this season, Kev. Cap or no cap? Keep in mind, if the playoffs started today, there would only be one team out of the AFC North in the playoffs. Cap or no cap? Only one team in the AFC North will make the postseason.
No cap. It's going to be whoever wins it between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. They're only going to be the division winner that makes it out of there. You look at what's going on in the AFC East. The surprise Jets are 4-2 or 5-2. Obviously, the Bills are runaway, one of the best favorite teams to win the Super Bowl. And then you look at what's going on out there in the AFC West. It's a lot of teams out there with the Chargers and the Chiefs. So, yeah, I only think that the division champion is going to come out of the AFC North to make the playoffs.
So cap or no cap, only one team out of the AFC North is going to make the playoffs, and I'm going to say no cap as well. Look, this isn't because and I think Baltimore is going to end up winning this unless something drastic happens. This isn't a shot at the Bengals. They have not been a consistent football team this year. Look, the Browns are not making the playoffs, all right? I'm really interested in seeing this team kind of get to the point to where they're going to, have Deshaun Watson. The rest of the season is about setting him up so that he can get kind of his rhythm back heading into next season. The Browns aren't a postseason team. The Bengals, the reason they're going to miss the playoffs is not because they're without Jamar Chase, and it's not because it's the 4-3 start, 0-2 in the division. They backed themselves into a corner that's very difficult to get out of. And as Kev said, there's a lot of teams in the AFC who have stepped up. While they're stepping up, the Bengals stepped back. And I don't care that they beat up on the worst passing defense in the National Football League. The bottom line is if the playoffs started today, there's only one AFC North team in there, Kev. The Bills would be the 1 seed. The Chiefs would be the 2. Last year's 1. The Titans are the 3. Baltimore 4. And then the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Chargers. The Dolphins, give them credit. They've been able to kind of battle through adversity with everything they had to deal with Tua Tagovailoa and of course everything going on with the concussion scares and everything along those lines. I give the Chargers credit. They're 4-3, just like the Bengals, but the Chargers have taken care of business. They own the tiebreaker over Cincinnati based on the best win percentage in conference games. I also didn't. You don't like that, then, do you?
No.
So if it comes down,
I didn't know that either. I'm reading it right now myself.
So the Chargers would win the tiebreaker over Cincinnati based on best win percentage in conference games. So not division games, conference games, Kevin.
Right.
That changes my mind. I thought it meant division. Conference games, that kind of makes sense going up against AFC teams.
I don't have a problem with the Chargers, but if the Dolphins are 4-3 and the Bengals are 4-3 and the Bengals beat the Dolphins, shouldn't the head-to-head be the tiebreaker over the Dolphins?
Let's see. So it says the Dolphins win the tiebreaker over Los Angeles based on strength of victory. It's the movie. You guys think the college football playoff moves a bunch of stuff around. The NFL is sneaky as far as that goes. Look, it's not a shot at the Bengals. I think that this
because read the second line. Wins tiebreaker over Cincinnati based off of best win percentage in conference, but they beat you.
Yeah, but I mean that's no different than if let's just say. I'm trying to think of a scenario of how that would make sense. But, I mean, that matters. I mean, again, the win percentage in the conference as a whole. I mean, yeah, the head-to-head. But, again, this is like the college football playoff. Penn State beats Ohio State, but Ohio State had more wins and all that type of stuff. So, I don't know. It's a very wonky situation.
And it's middle of the season.
It's middle of the season. But the point is we are at the middle of the season. I hate these conversations after 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. But we're 8 weeks in now. We're heading into week 8. This is the halfway point, and I think kind of you are who you are at this point, and the Bengals are adjusting, of course, are going to start their adjustment without Jamar Chase for at least the next 4 weeks. Bottom line is Bengals have not been consistent. The Browns are not a playoff team. The Steelers are rebuilding or whatever the heck they're doing. I think that the Ravens, despite not even playing their best football, They flipped a switch in the second half against the Bucs last night. The Bucs still have a very good defense despite the struggles on offense. Give Lamar credit. I don't give a lot of credit to from time to time, but I thought he played real well. He willed the Ravens to a win last night with his arm. He moved the team down the field with his arm last night. Got to give Lamar and the Ravens credit there. Cap or no cap, only one team from the AFC North will make the playoffs. You could chime in the comment section. We'll get to those in a minute. Kev, this will be the final season for Tom Brady in the National Football League. Cap or no cap?
Cap. Look, man, I don't want to get too deep into his personal business. Just like you, I think it's weird that this is such a big topic. I understand because his wife or ex-wife is a supermodel, so she's famous too. This has a very TMZ appeal to it, very Hollywood appeal to it. He's still an NFL quarterback, and he's still a person, and losing your family, it's got to be tough. Got to be tough. But he didn't lose them for nothing. He lost them because he wanted to play football. So he's not about to stop playing football because that's how he lost them. So he's going to continue to play football. He's like, well, if I ain't got my family, I got this football that I'm going to toss around. So he's back next season for sure.
If you're just tuning in, cap or no cap, this will be the final season for Tom Brady. Cap, that means a lie. No cap means it's the truth. He will not play again. I'm going to say cap as well. Yeah, I think that this has been a very confusing season for him. He retired, then he came out of retirement. Obviously, it led to more issues within the marriage that we're not privy to, which is being way too much of a talking point across the country media-wise, but whatever. Point is I think Tom Brady has had too much of a storybook-ending career to let it end this way. You know, maybe he should have retired after the Bucs Super Bowl a couple years ago. Maybe he should have retired when he retired last year. I think it would have been fitting. I thought that the team still played at a high level in the playoffs. We would have remembered the comeback attempt and all that and just falling short, whatever. But this is just too disastrous. And Tom Brady may not be at his peak, but he's still making good throws. Last night, I mean, he was dropping just the ball right in the perfect spot for Evans and for Godwin. Like, he's still on it. Like, they're not struggling because he's bad. They're struggling as a whole because they're missing a lot of key contributors there. You know, the offensive line's banged up. They made the head coaching change. There's just a lot of weird, wonky stuff that happened in the offseason. I think he comes back. I do not think he comes back with the Bucs, though.
Wow.
I will say he's not going to come back for the Bucs. I think that to come back with the Bucs means you have to rely on them to button up everything in the offseason, which from a financial standpoint, they can't. They don't have a lot of draft picks. So I think it's going to come down to, for him, going somewhere where he could win, and that's something we'll keep an eye on too, as far as where he could end up going. Maybe your old Pittsburgh Steelers over there. They can use another old head over there running the offense. So we'll see what happens.
It's whatever gets the job done.
All right, let's see. 518-1410. We'll get to the calls in a moment. But cap or no cap? All right, the NBA, the association. The Lakers are LeBron James, everyone's favorite player, the best player in the history of the world, as Kev always says. The Lakers are 0-4. All right, it's the first time LeBron has had a 3-game or more losing streak since 2002, by the way, or whatever, his rookie season, I guess. But the Lakers are 0-4, Kev. They have the Timberwolves coming up. They have Denver, New Orleans, Utah, Cleveland, Utah again, and then the Clippers. Now, Utah does not sound like a very scary team, but that's a rebuilding team. That is
their tanking is going wrong.
Yeah, you have a team trying to win that can't win a game, and a team that's trying to lose that can't lose a game.
Somebody should have told Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton that they were trying to lose.
I mean, my goodness. Yeah, exactly. Try telling them that. So, Kev, the Lakers, according to Stephen A. Smith, and he says the Lakers have a good shot at starting out 0-11. The Lakers will start the season 0-11 before they run into the Kings on November 11th. Cap or no cap?
Cap. This is the NBA, man. Like, they're not going to start off 0-11. I mean, LeBron James is still out there on the basketball court. If he needs to pull out a vintage LeBron James first run with Cleveland where he's dropping 50, 60 points to get a dub, he'll do it eventually because he'll get sick of this at some point and say, forget it. I'm not going to be the get everybody involved guy. I'm just going to just go score every single time. So they won't be 0-11. So I'm going to go with cap.
I'm going to say no cap. I think that this is,
oh my
by the
goodness,
way, LeBron James, 37 years old, 20 plus years in the league, averaging 25 points per game, averaging 10 rebounds per game, averaging 8 freaking assists a game. What the heck is happening here? 25 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists a game. 37-year-old, been in the league 20 years, LeBron James. I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, yes, that vintage. I think he could put 50 up anytime that he wanted to. But I think that's actually doing more harm than good. Having him go and be forced to do something like that, because the thing is, they should have enough players around him to let him continue to dominate and not exhaust him in the same breath. The reason I'm saying that is it's not because of LeBron James and it's not because of Anthony Davis, but that's literally all they have. No one's going to feel sorry for LeBron because he has a lot of say in how a roster is constructed. I get that. I'm not asking people to feel sorry for him, but just because you don't want to feel sorry for him doesn't mean that you shouldn't use logic in how this roster is. But this roster is bad. They're not playing for their head coach. They're not playing. And Ham, this really has nothing to do with him. That's not fair to say. This is just a horrible roster. This roster was horrible last year. It's horrible this year. They did nothing in the biggest move they made in the offseason was, announce that they're not going to trade Russell Westbrook. So it doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of weird drama going on behind the scenes, and they just look discombobulated. I'm not a fan of what's going on in Los Angeles right now. I think their best effort, Kev, is to trade Anthony Davis. That's the only opportunity that they're going to have to bring in some kind of youth movement to add some kind of resurgence to this team. As long as LeBron and AD are teammates, and Anthony's done nothing wrong, by the way, but I think it's their only opportunity. It's their only chance to add some youth onto this roster is to trade Anthony Davis away. Maybe, I don't know. But it's very interesting seeing this team. This team, I think, will start 0-11. I really do. I don't know when. But you're right. It is the NBA. They're going to pick out some stupid win that you're not expecting.
They're winning tonight. Yeah. I got them winning tonight, losing to Denver, beating New Orleans, beating Utah, and then getting demolished by the Cavs next week. So I got them winning 3 games before next week.
Josh Maloney on Facebook, Kev, he says Brady and LeBron are the same. They're old. Look, by the way, if you think that LeBron's the problem in LA, I don't know what to tell you. 25 points per game, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. I know we're only, 4 games into the season. I don't care. It's not as if the Lakers are 0-4 and he's coming out averaging 16, 2, and 2. Like, MVP, 4 games. That's a stupid comment. My bad. I'm going to call myself stupid. But LeBron's not the problem. He's coming out. He's doing his part. Like, he's scoring. He's distributing. He's rebounding. He's doing everything that he should be doing. Anthony Davis, I'm watching him dive into the front row and diving for loose balls. He's rebounding. He's defending. But the thing is, no one's questioned his ability to play. Right. He just can't stay healthy. Like, I hate when people try to argue. I think, when I hear Stephen A. Smith and others, I think we really need to see him step up this year. No, I don't think we need to see him step up this year. We need to see him stay healthy this year. He always steps up when he's out there. When he's not out there, that's the problem. So, look at me getting fired up about an NBA topic. It's been a while. All right, up next, Kev, cap or no cap? Let's stay in the association, shall we? I'm jacked about the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the first time in a long time.
You see the colors I got on today.
I am giddy about the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And by the way, new rule for ESPN Dayton, just because I have access to our Facebook page. If we post something NBA related and you say nobody cares, I'm just going to block you, okay? Why do people have I just don't, how many things on social media I scroll through a day? I'm like, oh, that doesn't interest me. That doesn't interest me. I never once have the urge to say, don't care. Oh, I'm probably a 35-year-old living in my mom's basement. So I'm just going to write, you don't care on everything. Like, buzz off. Anyways, staying in the NBA. Love the NBA this season. I love what we're seeing out of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kev. Big one tonight in the NBA for the Cavaliers as they take on the Boston Celtics. Ooh. All right. The Celtics are a 7-point favorite at home. The Cavs will be without Darius Garland again, who is healing from that eye injury that he sustained in game 1 of the opening night against the Raptors. Now, Mitchell has been on a tear, averaging about 28 a game. A Cavs win tonight, Kev, at Boston without Garland would put the Cavs in the title contention category. I don't know how they're not in that category. I think that what's keeping them actually, I do know why. They have the Cavs written on their jersey. That's what it is. It's a Cleveland-based team, and we can't talk about a Cleveland-based team winning a championship. It just doesn't sound right or look right, and especially since LeBron's not there. But this team has size. They have shooters. They have slashers. They have rebounders. They have three-point shoot. They have everything. Now, we talked about this earlier, but the Cavs, I think, should be an NBA title team that we're considering here. So if they win tonight, they'll win at Boston without Darius Garland. I think that should move him into that category of, oh, yeah, this is a team that has a chance to win a championship this season. Cap or no cap?
I want to say no cap because I want them.
Hater!
I want them to win the title, especially with this iteration of the team built through the draft and then making a nice trade to get Donovan Mitchell on there. I just think there is a line here. I think there's a line. I think the line starts with Milwaukee, ends with Boston. Like, that's the upper crust. And then you have the next batch of teams that are going to constantly get talked about because they're name brand opponents like the Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. And then you have this third segment being the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Chicago Bulls, like teams that are on the rise in the NBA. And I don't think any other team out there in the NBA is on the rise faster than the Cavs, but I just think that the Boston Celtics defensively are just like next level because all the guys out there are 6'5". Like, we have small guards, and I know we have Evan Mobley, and I know we have Jared Allen, and that made our defense good last year. But at some point, small guards have trouble against big guards. So at this point, this juncture of the season, I'm gonna have to say no. But hey, come March when they play, and we're still rolling and sitting in the top 3 spot, that might have to change.
The Cavs right now are not being viewed nationally, of course, as an NBA championship contender, playoff contender. They might be cute and get to the second round. I say tonight, cap or no cap, if they beat Boston on the road at Boston tonight, by the way, 7 o'clock, the tip-off, without Darius Garland, they're going to be viewed as a national, get college, as an NBA title contending team. I say no cap. I absolutely think that they will be viewed that way. I'm looking at them now, and I'm like, I think I just can't get over the fact that they are the Cavaliers. Like, if they're any other roster, I think we're looking at this like the Atlanta Hawks, anybody. Like, oh, yeah, this is a title contention team. I think we just can't get over the fact that it's Cleveland, who, by the way, can do no wrong constructing this roster. They are drafting better than anybody. They are developing better than anybody. They're adding free agents, or at least, making big additions through the trades. Of course, like, I can't believe Cleveland has been like the poster child for how to do this and do this effectively and to do it quickly. The NBA, you can't do anything quickly. And I feel like they've done this pretty dang quickly over the last couple of years, Kev.
Yeah, they have, because
Boston seems like it's been 10 years for them to get to this point.
They hit on Garland, and that's the biggest point. So for me, being a Cavs fan, I was looking at it as Garland is always hurt. Garland was hurt when he was at Vanderbilt. He barely played in college. So I was like, they're drafting another point guard when they already had Colin Sexton. What's the point? But what Garland has that Sexton didn't is a nasty jump shot. And that jump shot obviously spaces the floor. We talk about so much spacing when we talk about the Lakers. He gives them that. And then you get a guard like Donovan Mitchell. And then you have Evan Mobley, who a lot of people very early in his career are saying he could be the next Kevin Garnett. And then you have the ultimate glue guy in Jared Allen, who does not care about scoring the basketball. All he cares about is blocking shots, playing defense, rebounding the ball. So when you have a guy like that and does it at a high level, that means, and they're all young. And then you have the veteran Kevin Love, who's willing to take a back seat and come off the bench.
They just have like a youthful vibe.
Just one more piece. I don't know how they could get it. I think a true 3-and-D guy, like a Jay Crowder. I know Drake Crowder was with the Cavs when LeBron was there, and that type of thing didn't mesh with those two guys. But here, what all he's going to be expected to do is play defense and knock down corner threes. That's what they're missing. And I don't know if they have enough pieces to go get him. I just don't. And I don't even know what he's asking for, to be perfectly honest. He's actually a free agent, so I don't know the money that he's asking for to come to the Cavs. If you get a guy like that who plays defense like a pit bull and knocks down threes at a high level at like almost 40%, I think that increases them. I think I'll jump to that and say they're neck and neck with Boston.
Cap or no cap on the college football, Kev? Georgia, the number 1 team in the country, they're welcoming in Florida this week, all right? And they are a 22.5-point favorite at home. The Ohio State Buckeyes, the number 2 team in the country, they're going to be on the road at number 13 Penn State. Ohio State is minus 15 on the road. The number 3 team in the country, which should be the number 1 team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers, by the way, they will be at home welcoming in number 19 Kentucky. They are a 12-point favorite. And then the number 4 team, Michigan, they are welcoming in Michigan State, Kev, and Michigan is a 23-point favorite. Now teams 5 and 6, Clemson is the number 5 team in the country, a bye week, as Alabama, the 6th team in the country, has a bye week as well. So cap or no cap, Kev? As the very first college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday night, all 4 teams, number 1, 2, 3, and 4, will remain unbeaten after this weekend. Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, and Michigan teams 1 through 4 will all remain unbeaten heading into Tuesday night's very first college football playoff rankings release. Cap or no cap?
No cap. Georgia's going to manhandle Florida. Ohio State's going to cover versus Penn State. Michigan is going to throttle Sparty. And the only close game out there is going to be Tennessee and Kentucky, because Kentucky can play some defense, and I think they can slow Tennessee's offense down to around 30-something points, and their defense isn't that good. So I think that all those teams ultimately win their games this weekend, so I'm going to go with no cap.
I'm going to say cap. I think the game that I'm most like, for one, Ohio State makes me nervous this weekend. They were sloppy last week against Iowa. Iowa's a good defense, so I get that they're going to take some things away from you. That's fine that they couldn't really establish the run. The good thing
that made me mad.
is there's not a defense ahead of them outside of Georgia that they would run into that could potentially do that to them, possibly Michigan.
Yeah.
But Penn State makes me nervous because it's at Penn State, and they're a 15-point favorite. And, I don't know. I'm uneasy about that game, which is a good thing. I haven't been this uneasy in a while.
I would go with you if it was a night game. If it was a night game, white out, I know it's cliche, but, those fans make a difference, and that's why it's called a home field advantage. I do think that is being a noon kick plays in Ohio State's favor.
Yeah, but it's the Michigan and Michigan State game. Mel Tucker has nothing else to play for this season. Michigan State has nothing else to play for this weekend. Beating Michigan, the season could end tomorrow, and they'd be perfectly content with beating Michigan. I think right now Michigan has proven 1 year in the Harbaugh era that they can win a big game and make you – and you know what I mean? Like when all the pressure is on them. I think there is a lot of pressure on Michigan right now to win, obviously, every game heading into Ohio State, yes. But I think that I'm going to call it Michigan State wins tomorrow.
Did I tell you Mel Tucker went to my high school?
Michigan State wins tomorrow because this is just one of those weird games. There's always chaos, Kev. The reason I'm saying no cap is one of these 4 teams has to lose. College football has never disappointed us when it comes to chaos, and this is a weekend that could potentially provide a lot of chaos, especially heading into the very first college football playoff rankings on Tuesday night. I think Michigan gets upset by Michigan State. I know they're a 23-point favorite, but that's why it's an upset.
Right.
And it's a rivalry game, and I don't really care. Like, we've seen the best Ohio State teams in the world go up against the worst Michigan teams in the world, and they still play close because of the rivalry. Well, I think the rivalry between Ohio State and Michigan means more to Michigan than the rivalry between Michigan and Michigan State, and I think that the rivalry between Michigan and Michigan State means more to Michigan State. Michigan State, I think, comes out. Mel Tucker, he's losing confidence over there. They've taken a step back this year. The only way to regain some of that confidence that they've established over the last his first 2 years, I think they have to get a win over Harbaugh, and I think they get a win. I think there's going to be one domino that falls to create chaos heading into the first rankings on Tuesday night, and Mel Tucker's going to ruin it for the Big Ten, but I think that they get the win over Michigan tomorrow. So there you go.
Oh, man.
So no cap.
Okay, fair enough. I think Sparty's going to get steamrolled.
And probably.
I think they're going to get rickrolled, man. Hey, that when they went out to Washington this year, that thing got ugly, and it got ugly bad. And they already lost Ohio State too, right? Yeah, we beat the snot out of them. Yeah, I just think Michigan, we're on a collision course.
Trey Green says you're higher than a giraffe's ass if you think Michigan's going to lose. Trey, it's called an upset. The point of an upset is you pick a game that is not the result. You pick a game to have a result that is not supposed to happen. That's called an upset. I mean, my goodness. I love people that fall for the upset segments. Like, it cracks me up. We're going to tell you our upset. So you already know we're going to pick a team that shouldn't win to win. And then you guys lose your freaking mind when we pick a team that shouldn't win to win. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what cracks me up. But anyways, we only have a couple minutes left. So I want to make sure we get all these in, Kev. Last one here, cap or no cap. The Buckeyes are favored by 15 tomorrow on the road at Penn State. They're averaging 49.6 points per game. Cap or no cap? Ohio State will drop 50
cap
on Penn State. Cap or no cap?
Nah, not dropping a 50 burger. Nah, they still win. I still think they cover, but they're not dropping 50.
I'm going to say cap as well. I don't think they're going to drop 50. But the thing is, we're getting to the point to where I think sometimes with Ryan Day, the only criticism I have of him is sometimes he's getting too caught up in the Heisman thing with C.J. Stroud. There's games that have been so well out of reach that I'm like, why the in the blank is he still out there? Why in the and I think that Ryan Day has a habit of, and I think he's not technically wrong for it, but I think it's a dangerous game to play, playing for the Heisman and playing for the I think all these teams are going out trying to put on a show.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to try and put up 50. I think that means a lot to Ryan Day and Ohio State. I think they want to go out there and definitively get a big win on the road. They're tired of hearing, look, there's some programs I don't need to see them beat somebody to know there's somebody. That's Ohio State. But I also think Ryan Day and Ohio State, they want to put everyone on notice, and they want to drop 50 on Penn State, the top 25 opponent, and that's the final showing before the first rankings release. I'm going to go no cap. I think they do. I think he's good. That's Ryan Day's thing. Like, why else would you keep CJ Stroud in games late? He plays for the Heisman. He plays for the putting on the show. I think that matters to Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, and I still think that Alabama-Tennessee game has left an impact on how teams are trying to show out for the committee. I think that they're going to go for it. I think they're going to get it. I think they do.
I meant to bring this up earlier this week. AP top 25 teams with 0 games versus current ranked teams. Yep. Ohio State, Illinois, our beloved Bearcats, and the Tar Heels. This will be the opponent to make that statement first.
That's why I think that matters, because I think that, coaches always say, we don't pay attention to that stuff. It's a next team up mentality. That's fine. You tell us a lot of things. I don't believe you. You're lying about Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're lying when you say that. So there's that. All right, real quick, we'll have a couple minutes, Kev, and that was cap or no cap. Thank you for everyone who participated in that. All right, Kev, last thing here on the way out the door. Upsets. Two upsets. We only have about 3 minutes here. 2 upsets in the NFL, 2 upsets in college. Go.
Here we go. I'm going to go with the Rams over the 49ers. 49ers are a 1.5-point favorite over the Rams. 49ers have had the Rams number, obviously, up until the NFC Championship game last year. I think the Rams, coming off a bye week, they get the win over the 49ers. Other upset I'm going with is that the Panthers get the win over the Falcons. Falcons are a favorite by 4 points. P.J. Walker, Deontay Foreman, and Chuba Hubbard got that run game going for the Panthers, and their defense is still pretty good. So those are my 2 NFL upsets. College, I love college football. I'm going to go back to the Nebraska well. I haven't been burned enough by the Cornhuskers. I'm going to go with them beating number 17 Illinois. Illinois is a 7.5-point favorite. I'm going with the Cornhuskers, and then I'm going to go out to the Cuse. Yes, I'm a Syracuse basketball fan, not a Syracuse football fan. So I got Notre Dame traveling up to the Dome to beat the Cuse. Cuse is a 2.5-point favorite. Notre Dame beats Syracuse.
All right, for me, my 2 NFL upsets. For one, I want to start with the big one here. This is the biggest one. I'm going with the Green Bay Packers over the Bills. I know that sounds crazy. Look, here's the thing. Like, this is one of those, we talk about those weird, chaotic things that always happen in college football. This just feels right. Like, this just feels like, you know what I mean? Like, not one analyst out there has given the Packers a shot, because there's no reason to give them a shot. But it's also the National Football League. And Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that he just don't give 2 rips what people think of him. And this is just the exact game for him to kind of give the bird to every single analyst who doubted him. I just feel like this is a game that the Packers go out and get. The Bills, they've been elite every damn week. They come out firing every week. I just think that at some point
they're going to lose another game.
They're going to lose another one. This could be the game that they do. The other upset that I'm picking, my Dallas Cowboys are going to lose to Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. I liked what I saw from them. I know, look, I don't care. Look, it's the Patriots. I don't know. We still don't know who the Patriots are, but they're still coached by Bill Belichick, and they're still a very good coached defense. I think what I like about the Bears is they play hard for Eberflus, whatever the hell his name is. I thought that was a horrible head coaching hire, but you know what I love about the Bears? They play hard for him.
You know what I love? They switched it up.
That's what I was going to get to. The reason I'm picking the Bears to beat the Cowboys is because I think that the Bears figured something out. I do not like the idea of letting Fields just throwing him out to the Wolves, but the only shot that he has at making it as the starting quarterback of the Bears beyond this season is playing to his strengths. And the only chance they have at winning football games is playing to his strengths, because they have no offensive line. They have no run game. They have no weapons whatsoever. Their best shot at winning football games is to put the ball in their best players' hands. I was wrong a month ago when I said Justin Fields looks like absolute garbage. He plays on the garbage team. He has no help around him. I liked what I saw the other night. I don't want him to be used that way. I think that's a dangerous route to go. I know it works for Lamar Jackson. As much as I like Justin Fields, he's not Lamar Jackson. But
Lamar gets out of bounds like nobody's business.
That's their best shot, though. And I think that they're confident heading into this matchup with the Cowboys. And the Cowboys did not look good last week. The Lions lost that game. The Cowboys did not win that game. The Cowboys finished the game with more points than the Lions, but the Lions lost that game. Turnovers, penalties, just non-disciplined
Fumble inside
football.
the 5-yard line.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, the Cowboys have this has nothing to do with Dak either. They haven't looked good even with Cooper Rush. They've won a lot of ugly games. I still don't know what their identity is outside of like how they're going to go and beat you. I know how they're going to hang around in games, but I think Justin Fields and the Bears are confident. They just beat Bill Belichick and the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. I think they get the upset over the Dallas Cowboys. I think that the Packers beat the Bills. In college, you said Notre Dame over Cuse, right? Is that what you said? So I'm going to my other upset, I already told you, Michigan State over Michigan. I think one big domino falls this weekend. There's no way we head into Tuesday night with the top 4 teams unbeaten still. I think Michigan is the vulnerable one as far as that's concerned because of the rivalry. My other upset, the Big 12 is the Big 12 no more. The Big 12's TCU loses to West Virginia at West Virginia. TCU at West Virginia. It's a noon kick on ESPN. TCU is only a 1-possession favorite, a 7.5-point favorite at West Virginia, who's 3-4. I'm sorry. I don't buy into teams like this who are only a 1-possession favorite against a 3-4 team. I can't do that in college. If Ohio State was only a 7.5-point favorite at 3-4 West Virginia, I would rip the Buckeyes a new one. That wouldn't happen because the Buckeyes are for real. TCU is at 7 because they're undefeated. They're not for real. I don't buy into them. Big 12, no more. All right, Kev. Have a good weekend. Kev Nash tomorrow, Submarine House, 10:30 a.m. Kettering, Buckeye pregame show. And then you're going to be live at Frickers on Sunday for the Sunday morning tailgate show as well with Mr. KB.
Absolutely. Everybody come on out. Let's hang out. Let's talk about the matchup that's going down on Halloween night. Your Cleveland Browns versus your Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, my Pittsburgh Steelers, KB's Philadelphia Eagles. We're going head-to-head, so we're going to be beefing out there. Come hang out with us.
All right, folks. Have a great weekend. Can't wait to watch the Browns kick the Bengals' ass, you bunch of whiny crybaby fans. Oh, we're going to be fine without Jamar Chase. You're not going to be fine, and it's going to be a miserable Halloween for you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own. Now, we've won the best 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on